everywhere.
Welcome back to the Gnostic Informant, and you are about to attain true gnosis. And by the way, that intro, I love how it's just enough time to get at least 100 people here before, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a nice little, that's my cheat code. But tonight, we're going to talk about a claim that's been going around for quite some time now. This has been something that's been part of the Ammonite doctrine, if you will, which is this idea that in Revelation there's no Lamb of God. That's this modern biblical scholars not knowing Greek. Literally, this is literally what's been said. I'm not even summarizing. That's exactly what he says. That if these modern Bible scholars are translating it as lamb, little lammy, he'll say, despite Exodus having the lamb, the whole entire lamb, obviously. Scheme that happens where Jesus becomes the Lamb of God, he becomes the Passover, he dies at the Passover. There's all these things pointing to Jesus being the Lamb of God. Just ignore all that theological jargon. It's the golden fleece from the Argonautica. And so he somehow convinced people that the word arneon or arneos in the
Arneon, not a neon.
Arneon,
right.
Yeah, is the word for fleece. And now there is something to say about where he's getting his information from, which Stephen is actually going to drop some bombs on this. The idea that, it says in the lexicon that it can mean fleece. But really, we're finding out it's not. It's even worse than that. They're not even. It's not even that they're improperly reading a lexicon like LH does, where he can just look for words on the screen and point to it. It's even worse. The lexicon has an error that we're about to prove right now. So let me hand it over to Stephen, and by the way, Zach's here too, co-host with me.
Zach,
so, going on, Zach?
Welcome.
Glad you're here. But Stephen, you have a lot to talk about, and I guess me and Zach will chime in whenever we feel necessary, and let's go from there.
I think we should. Someone said send Ken Wheeler's translation to Stephen. That's hilarious. So I think we should start out by just laughing at some of this comedy gold that is coming out of the Lady Babylon channel. And shout out to Kike Cruz, El Borisatva.
Gift. This video is such a gift. It's so bad.
And for the record, he
has no idea that he just posted Slop. He thinks this is like, Christians have no defense. It's so, all right, anyways.
So we're going to start with Amon's constipation bit, because his constipation bit's always entertaining.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I got to change my sound. One second. All right. Let me know if you can hear this.
Hold on.
He's constipated. Let's let him get it out.
Come on. Jump. Show him the first. Show him that one. Oh, Lucifer is a guitarist, people. Just shut up. And when he taken the book, when he taken the book, what happened? The 4 animals and the 24-old coots fell down right before the Arnu, right before the Great Fleece.
So you see the build up there, right?
By the way, he missed the stress.
Her
He missed the stress in Arniu.
Yeah.
I know.
So
I'm being picky. I'm not going to get into that. All right.
So in the nominative case, it's arnion with the recessive stress, the emphasis on the antepenultimate syllable. In the genitive, you're right. It's to arniu.
And he had what? What did these people have? All of these people, all of these powers of God. What do they have, people?
Guitars.
Kitharan.
Yeah. So kitharan.
To be fair, the word guitar does come from the same root as kithara does. To be fair.
Yeah. So it's a kithara. So he brought this up so that he could harp on the fact that there is a guitar here. There's that's fine. But this is a recurring theme, and it's actually something that occurred in the video that I did. That unfortunately I didn't really jump on this because there was a lot of opportunity to dunk on this. But basically, let me see. There's some other one. I think there's a big one here. Yeah. So this one is a bit more telling. Pretty sure he gets into this a bit more. Yeah. Okay. So hold on a second. Let me get this.
Ram. Yeah. Okay. Now remember, we're at the wedding and we are joining the church and Jesus. Right? In the mystery, we are all working toward the wedding. Okay. The wedding is always on the fleece. That union comes through the words, the sacred song that is printed on the fleece using drugged ink. You want to see those angels? Right? You got to go through the fleece.
And where does that drugged ink come from?
Where?
From Medea's vagina, of course.
Oh, that's right.
Lamb of God is the fleece.
Well, of course.
Kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Give me the next one. Oh, God, after this, I saw a huge crowd, and nobody was able to, it was so big, nobody was able to number it, right? And from where these people come from? They're from every group, every tribe, every people, they had all different languages, and standing before the throne, and before the fleece. And they were wrapped in white, and they had fornicates in their hands. What did they have? What did these revelers and worshipers of the great and almighty, what did they have in their hands? They had date palms. Come here, little skull.
By the way,
Paxton's
while you're waiting for that to load up, I noticed that whenever he hates the fact that he's the translation is like very clear, he'll make a weird sound like that. It's something he does. Date palm. Because that's true. That's what the word means. It's
date palms.
And he just wants it to be purple. So he instead of like addressing the context and what the word means, he makes a funny sound because it's a good rhetorical device.
It debunks it, obviously.
Of course.
Can't get it out of them. You can't get it out of them. Give me the next one and show me. Let's look at this word phoenix. What is a phoenix? Well, it's one of those Phoenicians that we were just talking about. Right? One of those Phoenicians, good. And they're living in Sidon. That's great. We've identified them as a group. So do they have Phoenicians in their hand? No, they don't have Phoenicians in their hand. What do they have? They have the purple or the crimson. They have the purple or the crimson.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the typical Ammonite methodology that we were talking about, where a word can mean something, therefore it means it in this context. Despite that we know that in the Old Testament, during the Sukkot festival, which is in the fall, it says they carry palm, they carry myrtle, they carry a couple other fruits and whatever. And like, you really think that they're carrying all these branches and fruits, and then randomly they're just going to have purple in their hands? And then sometimes some of these texts actually use the word tree. What's the Greek word for the word for tree? Dendros.
Dendron.
Sometimes it'll say
dendron.
From the dendros, and then he'll just ignore
the dendron.
That. He just hopes you don't check.
Yeah, because so here in context they're definitely holding palm branches, but or date palms. But look, watch.
Interesting. What kinds of things have those crimson and that purple? Look at the gowns and the flocks. You know what the flocks is? You got that purple madness. Hit me with the next one. Let's keep going with purple and track it down a little bit. Look at this great Greek word, phoinikemon. What does a phoinikemon?
Yeah, what does this have to do with anything?
Give me the next one. I promise you, people. I appreciate that you've hung in this long, and I'm going to show you Jesus in a way that nobody else can show him to you. Are you ready? Phoinikidzo. What does that mean to fornikizo? It means to imitate the Phoenicians. It means to be or do the Phoenician. You want to do the Phoenician? Natural life.
So this has nothing. He's pretty far from the text right
Seriously,
now.
Pause it real quick.
Yeah.
How dare these people come in my comment section and tell me that I'm, what do they say? They say you're just like you need to calm down, and you're just like you're too out of control. You need to, the hubris, and then listen to him freaking out, whipping the floor, screaming. That's okay. Such a hypocrisy that these people are under. It's crazy.
Jacket Chewy just for the people who want implicitly to do like the lesbian women. Well, what does that mean? Seriously, Lesbos is an island, baby. What are those Mycenaeans doing? I don't know.
And what does this have to do with what these people are holding in their hands?
Because they're like children. They think the word lesbian's funny, even though it just means people from the island of Lesbos.
Well,
He's
but here,
modern...
to his point, lesbiazo here means to perform a sexual act, right? So this is.
I think it's
but
funny.
it's just not connect. He's already ping ponged a few layers deep into his exploration of the. We're in a new rabbit hole now.
On Lesbos, what do you do that's so well? Maybe the Latin will help us. Look, filare, oh, right? No, that's the wrong word, isn't it? I think it's filare means to do
tweaking right now.
certain things with.
How can someone watch this and go, "This is good, dude"? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm entertained. I don't know. Are you not entertained?
It's entertaining, but he's tweaking. He's tweaking out right now. Clearly.
Yeah.
The mouth to produce some what became known as fellatio, fellatio, and a fellator. Listen to the Latin. A fellator is somebody who performs fellatio. Yes. Fantastic. So that's to do the Lesbos thing. Yeah. Is to perform fellatio. And give me the next one. Unfortunately, what are we going to be doing?
So we're going. I can't remember. There's some
the people watching this. They think they went from Revelation all the way to here, and they think they're just assuming because he's so confident in what he's talking about that he somehow translated Revelation to be a big orgy.
Yeah, I think he gets back to I don't remember. I'm a little underprepared with the clips that I queued up here. But he goes back and forth to like
kind of like to look though
because he's trying to connect the dots between Phoenician and purple and porphyra.
Her name is Lydia. Oh.
And I don't
tell you.
It's everything but. Pause it real quick. It's everything but palm branch. And then if you ask him, hey, can Phoenico mean palm branch? He'll say, yeah. Okay, so you know it can mean that. Give me an example of when it does mean that. It's like they'll never do that. Because it's always got to be purple every time it shows up.
So here's another short one that I have queued up.
Of God, what is the Lamb of God? That is the Aren, not the Arnion. The Arnion is the diminutive. Fucking read it. It's a little lammy, or. Commonly, the fleece.
Not true. That was the lie. That was the blatant lie. Or commonly, no, extremely rarely to the fact that it's. I don't even think in antiquity it exists as the word for fleece. Maybe once or twice, maybe right. Do you know if it does?
Into that. We'll get into that.
Because if he was honest, he could have said, "Now this is actually a rare usage, but it can mean right."
If he were being honest, at least if he were indicating, if he were going to just lean on the LSJ, he would say that according to Lucian, right? This is Lucian.
Right. According to Lucian's source.
On dances,
yes.
43, it's allegedly, ostensibly means sheepskin fleece, but
the fleece,
commonly. Just to keep this all in mind.
Now, do you understand? The Lamb of God is a creation of people who were not reading the Greek. It is a theological.
Pause it. Every single church father who is still speaking, writing, living in the Koine Greek world, which is biblical Greek, understood this to be a lamb.
Well,
so did they not know Greek either?
But LSJ
commonly.
LSJ also has the A definition as a little lamb. Now, what we get in the middle.
My point is, if your argument is, oh, this is only even if he's doubting the LSJ right now, maybe he is. If he's saying they don't know Greek, it's never that. It's more commonly fleece, right? That's his argument. Then why is every single church father all calling this a lamb, using this word for lamb? Why is not even forget about the church fathers, even outside of that pagan text using this word as lamb?
I think
What is he talking about?
I think the steel man of this lunacy would be to say that they're all talking about fleeces, that you are misunderstanding it, Neil. You think they're talking about lambs.
How do you sacrifice a fleece?
It just,
How do you sacrifice a fleece? It's already,
if you would read Greek for 30 years, you would know.
And that also makes no sense. If you understand paganism, you don't sacrifice a non-living animal. You sacrifice a living animal, you need the blood.
Well, what he's saying, so this is his argument actually, is that arein is lamb, and that when you put it in the diminutive, it actually becomes the fleece. Never mind, don't pay attention to the A definition, a little lamb. That's just Christianese. The real common meaning is sheepskin fleece. That's what he's saying here. That's the implication.
It is a theological entry into the scum that develops after these texts begin to circulate. Ew. Thankfully, the originals are all preserved, man, right in the language. You don't need to try to figure out, what does this mean here? What is the lamb?
All right, so that's exhibit, what is that, C?
I hope you brought examples of usages where this is where it
I do. We're just gonna do two more almond clips.
I'll back off.
Two more almond clips.
I was gonna look some stuff up, but go ahead.
Here's another one. Here's another one on another topic. This one is fun. Hold on a second. Let me try to get this in a better view. All right. Wait. There we go. Okay, so this is not going to talk about the lamb, but we'll touch on this.
And what does it make us see? What does this blood make this woman, this gorgeous Gunaika, who is totally methylated? What does it make her see? Makes her see Thalma Mega. Great wonders.
Now, Neil, pop quiz.
What a psycho right there. Holy shit.
Ethaumasa at the bottom left. Just pop quiz, Greek. I didn't prep you for this. So thaumazo means to be amazed, right?
Okay.
So ethaumasa with that epsilon augment and the alpha at the end.
Was amazed.
Was amazed. So what person is that? Who was amazed?
And the saint or the woman was amazed.
That's what he said.
Okay, and was it Jesus was amazed? Who was amazed? I don't know.
Zach? Anyone?
First person.
It is first person.
Oh, John.
So whoever's writing this is saying, whoever's recounting this vision, it's kia thavmasa idon naftin thavma mega, right? So I was amazed, a big amazement, right? Like so he just said that she was amazed. Let's go back.
For see this woman, this gorgeous Gunaika, who is totally methylated. What does it make her see? Makes her see Thalma Mega.
Oh yeah, he's totally innocent. This guy who just said gorgeous Gunaika, totally innocent from St. Mary's. That's all hearsay. These people can't. They're low IQ. They can't put two and two together, dude.
So
did you hear him freak out right there over the word Gunaika? And you think the St. Mary's is fake? Fuck you, dude. Seriously.
So basically, you have to ask yourself, like, okay, if you're learning Greek from this person, and you're learning the basics of, first person, second person, like, if she saw something and she was amazed, it would have to be ethaumasen, right? It would have to have that epsilon. It doesn't. He's already working outside of the boundaries of just really basic Greek 101.
He does all the time. He glosses words. He doesn't actually. He never breaks down what mood it's in or what form it's in. He just glosses words, and then when you do it that way, you can move things around easier. Because if something's not, like you mentioned, it's in first person. If you don't mention that it's first person, then you can lie and say she's amazed because you have Gunaika up there, and then they'll just go, oh, it's about her. But if he said if it's first person, they're gonna go, wait, is she the narrator? They're gonna think about that for a second. So that's how he gets you.
Yeah, well, and the problem with that also is that the verse begins with kai edon, right? So edon is actually masculine. So it's like I saw, and in seeing it, it's a participle. So that's another cue. So that's just for all you Greek students out there, if you're sort of wondering if he's.
Let's not get too in the weeds here. Let's get into the lamb shit.
Oh God. Yeah. What is she doing? She's looking in the mirror, baby. Because that's what she is. Give me the next one. Because that's what she is. Do you understand? Who invented Bacchic worship? Medea did.
It gets back to Medea. And then the last exhibit. So we have him talking about the lamb, talking about the purple. I'm sorry, the fleece, the purple, and who saw visions. One more example, just to sort of round out his overall interpretation of Revelation. Can you pull this up?
Yeah.
What is that he holds? He holds the entire cosmos by that sfragida. Oh,
talking about this
God.
one right here.
For the sake of everything. What does the morning star do? He has the sfragida. What is it? What is that? Let's go to the next one. Should have had it on the next one after that. Boom. No, of course not. Sorry. How about let's try that one. No. It's not there. Oh, okay, here. Sfragidos. Here it is. Go. Get the next one after this, because that's got to be. Oh my God. How much definition of this thing am I gonna have to read? Look at this. Oh, open it up for just a minute. I'll try to stay on mark here, but I probably won't be able to. Look. Everything from a gem or a stone to an impression from a signet ring, all that kind of stuff. Take it down. Give me the next one. Let's focus in. Which ones? Oh, look at this. Look at number 3. Does anybody see number 3? This
all
is
over the place.
medicinal earth.
Does anyone know what's going on? I don't even know what he's even saying at this point.
Oh my God.
So he's
throwing
dropping
shit at the wall.
He's dropping all the way down into this number 3 definition, which is tablet of Lemnian medicinal earth, which we're going to talk about with John this weekend when we talk about Galen. So he's going to jump all the way to definition 3 and also definition 5 here with medicinal. Like he wants to get the medicinal sense of sfragis, right?
How much definition of this thing am I going to have to read? Look at this. Oh, open it up for just a minute.
Yeah, you don't have to read any of those definitions. You just need to pick the one you want.
Mark here, but I probably won't be able to. Look. Everything from a gem or a stone to an impression from a signet ring, all that kind of stuff. The medicinal earth. These are things that Galen went to pick up. You know what I mean? This is good stuff. These are drugs from the ancient world. Only these, reputedly, are the top panacea. This thing will get you healthy and keep you healthy. Oh, love it. We killed it, right? What else is that? We used it all.
Okay, so
can't find it anymore. Stupid.
So he just went to definition 3. Now he's going to jump to definition 5.
The people.
The minority one, the one at the very, very, very bottom.
Tell the watchers they're right. What else is this thing?
Has anything to do with lamb at all?
It will. Yeah, it will.
The dimensions. What are they? Medically, they're pastilles, right? Does anybody know what that is? Right? Look. Oh, you can take these. I've seen the kind of some of them. You can take and you can put little ball of medi, and you take it and you put it on the fire, and then you breathe it in. Oh God! You take another one. You put it in a cup. You put it in there. You dissolve it, and you drink that. Right? And, it's part of the medicine. You people who are running around teaching and preaching about the seals. Oh, these are the seals that they're going to break on book. No. No, it's a medical application. Why do you think
he shook the camera there? Wait. Watch when he says no. It's so funny.
No, it's a medical application. Why do you think they got the devil and the false prophet in a giant pit full of the smoke of purification? People, come on. Yeah, all you gotta do is follow the drugs. Watch what they're doing with drugs. Go to the next one. Love it. Let's try that.
So he just said that the sfragides that are in Revelation, the seals on the book, on the scroll that they have to break to open it up, right? They have to open the seals. He just said that those aren't really seals. They are medicinal. They're anal suppositories, basically.
Look, people, this is too many. People are going to be like, dude, I can't hang out that long. I got to go. Look, and he shouted in a big voice saying, look, the salvation, right? Sitting on our throne, right? Our God, oh, love it. Sitting on a throne. What's that last word? Ognioi. And on the what? On the ognioi, that's a fleece. That's a fleece that you write on. It's a very protected one that the dragon guards. Wait a minute. Did you? I forgot. You were thinking lamb. Right? You were thanking lamb. This is the Lamb of God. There is that, and he's next to God. They're on the throne. Oh, that's a happy ending. That's decrepit. Seriously? Let the great mother just rinse that bowl out. You know what I mean? Oh my God, what's that fleece? You've got to have the.
First of all, and we'll get to this later. The one that the garden drags is from a ram. It has ram horns on it in every single depiction, and it's described as a winged ram. It's not a arnion ever. So he's lying in both directions. He's lying about Revelation, and he's lying about the Argonautica. He's lying about both. I don't know. This comes from nothing. This comes from his own asshole.
Song, or you can't have the mystery. You got to have the song. Don't you understand now why they were fumigating themselves? We saw it in the Mithraic liturgy. We saw it why they're fumigating themselves with the song. They're breathing that stuff in and they're listening to the chorus. Oh God, those priestesses, man. Oh God, they set up a world. It's got to come back. We need this. We need this healing. You know what I mean? Next one, please. That's fine. Okay, and here it is. Just in case you think I'm full of it. Look at number 2. Roman number 2.
Just in case you think I'm full of it, here's his evidence.
Please go to the next one immediately. Love it. Maybe I'm being
Look how quickly he went through that.
We need this healing. You know what I mean? Next one, please. That's fine. Okay, and here it is. Just in case you think I'm full of it. Look at number 2. Roman number 2. Fleece. Go to the next one immediately. Maybe I'm being too loud. Yeah, okay, so there is the fleece again, right on that middle of the throne, and it is what is causing us to have access to the waters of life. Right? Those of you in the Satanic congregation who know what it means to be born again will understand this. Right? They have the water of life. Remember Jesus when he's at the well, right? And he's like, "Hey, you know what? B word, get me some water." And she's like, "Why don't you suck it?" Right? And he's like, "Dang, I got it right here for you. I got you. If you asked me, I'd have given you the water of life." And she's like, "No."
All right, I think that's enough. Any questions about his interpretation of Revelation?
No, but I do want to really quick pull up John when he uses "feed my little lambs." He uses which word? I'm saying which doesn't he use arnion in that text? Arnion.
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me.
Arnion.
There are lots of different.
Okay. Here we go. I just pulled it up. So look at this. He says it right here, and then it says ta arnia.
Yeah, ta arnia. It's
So
the exact same word.
It's the exact same word in the feminine.
No.
It's no. This is not. You're right. This is still masculine, right? Or is it
No,
neuter?
it's neuter.
Neuter
Plural.
Neuter nominative plural. Give me a second. I would have said it. Neuter nominative plural, and it's saying "feed my little lambs," and it's the same exact word. And it's you really think that the New Testament. By the way, this is from the Johannine. You know, it's not the same author, but like they're using the same exact word for. And obviously, feed. What you feed? Do you feed fleeces? Is he saying feed my fleeces?
Yeah, it is the accusative though. It's accusative case. It's not the nominative.
Oh, that's a nominative. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, and just so everybody's aware, those
because they get the same definite article, nominative and accusative, right?
The neuter is immune to the nominative case to the accusative case. So the accusative case doesn't change neuters.
That's why I don't.
Yeah.
A little tricky.
Just so everybody's aware, the NRSV is reloading tonight, so it'll be normalized tomorrow morning. There were some issues with the NRSV depiction there. So
think about that for a second. John's using this word. Supposedly it's the same John, but I don't think it is. But anyways, John's using this word, New Testament Greek, New Testament Koine Greek, feed my little lambs. And then you get to Revelation and it's talking about it's using the same word as the Lamb of God. What do you think's the case? What do you think's more likely?
they're feeding fleece. Neil.
They're feeding fleeces?
They get real hungry back then.
Feed my little fleeces, please.
It's the pelts. They just got to get. Yeah. Okay. So now let's review some of this Ammonite slop. So we have Neil chiming in here under the first video that we watched where he was talking about the guitar and he mentioned the lamb. And
Butterfly came through.
Why don't you read your post here?
The word for fleece is deras, not arnion. Arnion is lamb. The Argonautica uses chrysomalon deras for golden fleece, not arnion. He just lied right to your face, and you took it like a back alley cheap trick. You just posted slop and have no awareness. You downvoted me, bro?
So
did you really?
So
No, isn't that a screenshot from Bori though?
Oh,
yeah, it is.
Okay.
So what he posts is a screenshot of some lexicon that's redirecting from Arnion. So he typed it in. I don't know. This is. I don't know exactly where this is coming from, but we can identify where that is coming from because it matches the LSJ, right? So it's showing number 2 sheepskin fleece. Boom. He owned you, right? He clapped back with this lexicon entry that shows that at least it's possible.
That was such a typical Ammonite move. It can't mean this.
So the thing that, Bori or anybody who's appealing this needs to ask themselves when they're looking things up in the lexicon is like right after the comma, it says sheepskin fleece. There's a little comma. You can barely see it. And then it says Luke Salt 43. And you have to ask yourself, what does that text say? right? What is Luke? It's Lucian, right? What is salted? It is saltationi, right? So it's on dances, on dancing. It's a dialogue by Lucian on dancing. Peritis orchisios. I have it. So.
Okay, cool.
This slop inspires a whole bunch of more Ammonite slop, like the Ion chiming in, correcting you, saying Chrysomalontheras does not appear in the Argonautica.
To be fair, I at first wasn't specific on which, because I assumed Apollodorus is using the same word as everyone else, and the reason why, there's actually a good reason to think that. They use the same term in Diodorus. They use the same term in Strabo. The most common usage is the Chrysomalontheras. Now in the Argonautica by Apollonius, or is it Apollonius? Apollonius or Apollodorus? No, Apollonius. Yeah. No, Apollonius. Apollonius' version, he doesn't use that, but he also doesn't use Arnion either. So Ion chimed in. He made a fair little. This is a fair point. So I responded, and so he says that word does not show up in the Argonautica. He's referring to Apollonius' version, which is fair to point out, and I responded with. I
have the response. So he points out that it's Chruseon koas, right? Koas is an epic Greek term for fleece, and you said no. There's your response.
Diodorus and Strabo both tell the Argonautica and both use Chrysomalontheras. Apollodorus uses the same term. Apollonius, now, that's a fair point, it was Chruseon koas and Chruseon deos, as well as contextually modified deros. So the Scholia Vetera on Apollonius, to Chrysomalontheras, immediately paraphrased as to kodiou to krusu, normalized to the nominative as the kodion to krusun, the golden fleece / sheepskin. Diodorus and Strabo use the same term as before. Apollodorus, exactly the same term. Never once, this is the key thing, never once does anyone use golden fleece from the Argonautica story, this very particular story, never once does anyone ever use Arnios or Arnion, ever. Ammon lied, period. That's the end of it at that point. You can point to a lexicon all day long. It's words on a screen. You need to show evidence.
Yeah. So and Arnion is the neuter form, and so Bori is like saying never say never. They just want you to admit that you were wrong. But
there's nothing I'm wrong about.
You used the form of the golden fleece that is used in a different author and said it was whatever.
Either way, though, it's still not Arnion.
It's still they're still not proving the point that the reference to the lamb is actually a reference to the lamb's skin.
If they can admit that Ammon lied, then I'll go, yeah, you're right. I actually was wrong about the one version out of a dozen versions that still doesn't use Arnion, and if they can admit that Ammon's a liar, then sure.
Well, and the Ion is really he's progressing into full blown apologetics, right? He's saying, listen, hear him out here. He says, philology aside, would it be such a stretch to think?
Philology aside, that means he's like, okay, you're right.
Yeah. So aside from all of this like mumbo jumbo about philology, would it be such a stretch to think that perhaps a golden fleeced lamb could one day be a golden fleeced ram?
Oh my God.
They are both sheep after all. And then Bori's just,
you're absolutely right. That's definitely apologetics.
Yeah. And then Bori just keeps pushing to get you to admit you were wrong about something. So we're not saying this has nothing to do with rams and lambs. This has to do with Ammon's assertion that commonly when people are referring to lambs, what they are really referring to are the skin of the lamb that has been sheared off and turned into a pelt or a fleece. That's what he's saying. So all of this discussion is like missing the point. And so you retort. What do you say?
Sorry, man, but nervous laughed. Oh, the top one. No, the famous golden fleece was made from a winged ram. This is what the story says. In the story, and all depictions from classical art show ram's horns. I have those depictions. We can get to those later. And I said to Bori, sorry, man, but nervous laughter emojis doesn't magically make Ammon into being correct. And there's not, by the way, I love when people do that online. they when they're mad at you for something and they put laughing emojis, it's like we all know you're not sitting there laughing. You're going like this right now. You're not laughing. Stop pretending that you're laughing. It looks cringe. Anyways, and there is not one thing in this thread that anyone has shown me to be wrong about. Because even if you want to say he didn't mention Apollonius' version, I'm still correct that Ammon's lying about Arnion. That's my main point. My main point is Ammon's lying about the word Arnion. So I'm still right. I just didn't know that the Apollodorus and the Apollonius use the same term. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, there's just different terms for fleece. There's different terms. Right. We say fleece. We could say pelt. So at the bottom here, the ion is just holding on to the idea. Ammon isn't lying about anything.
Says. A ram was never a lamb? That's such an... Of course a ram used to be a lamb when it was a baby. What does that have to do with anything? That's you reaching for something that's not there, dude.
But at the end of the day, the cognitive dissonance here is being expressed as Ammon isn't lying about anything, right? And that's what in your dialogue, you know... Right. Yeah, in your dialogues with various followers of Ammon, like you cannot get them to admit that Ammon. We just saw him lie through his teeth in this first section over and over and over again, even about really basic first and third, first person and third person grammatical stuff, right? Like that was very, very transparent. Anybody who knows Greek knows that he lied about that, and he's lying about this fleece thing.
That last line on the bottom, Ammon isn't lying about anything, is so shockingly. Like delusional. The fact that he thinks that's a true statement. That's shockingly delusional.
Now, I'm sure there are some people that have maybe watched up until this point who still are like, when are these guys going to prove that Ammon is lying, right? And maybe they've already checked out, right? Because they don't want to get to the part. They don't want to get to the punchline on this. More back and forth. Of course, the ram's a lamb. Arnios, it should be Arnion in the neuter. Bori says, yes, it does mean sheepskin or fleece. You're just refusing to look at the lexical entry I posted. Lol, what are you afraid of? Is saying that you're wrong that hard for you to do?
Notice how I actually wonder if Bori, and right when he said that, thinks that the word doesn't even mean lamb at all. Because notice how he goes, it does mean sheepskin or fleece. He doesn't even throw in it could be lamb either. Yeah. Like I think he's that delusional that he thinks Ammon is actually telling them this doesn't mean lamb, and I think he's taking him at face value.
Well, there are instances where there will be like definition A and definition B in a lexicon, and in a specific text, when an author is using a word in the sense of definition 2, you can confirm that in the context, and you can say it's definition 2, and you could discard definition 1, as long as you've proven that. Ammon has not proven that it means fleece or pelt, right? Then we get Rob chiming in here, and you were pretty harsh on Rob. But to Rob's credit, and I have gone back and forth and discussed this with him and sort of revealed to him a little bit of what I'm going to reveal to you guys today, and I think he's receiving this pretty well. To his credit, what he's pointing out in the beginning here, he says, "Have you looked in LSJ, Brill, GE, all in Wiktionary, right? Have you looked at all of these lexicons, because they all have this reading of Arnion meaning fleece or pelt or sheepskin, right? So he's asking if you consulted that, and at the end, I don't think you got to the bottom of his comment. He said,
I admit I didn't.
Basically, he disagrees with Ammon.
His nonsense. I can't even. It hurts my head to even read it.
It is a thick, it's a thick comment, and at the end of it, he says that it's a massive stretch on the translation in the context of Revelation.
I did see that part. Yeah.
Okay, so you.
Hey, Stephen.
Yeah.
Grudge has a good question. So why does Ammon need to say fleece instead of lamb?
What does Ammon need to say fleece instead of lamb?
Because it's fleece. It's Medea.
I'm going to get to it. So is this a butterfly? So more just go back and forth. He's invoking this entry, Arnion is a sheep or a fleece. So just so everybody's clear on the mythology, right? This is from my Ancestry.com family tree of Greek mythology that has like 1,000 characters. The family tree of Jason, right? Jason is descended from Aeson, right? Who's descended from Peleus and Thetis. He's basically Achilles is his uncle through Peleus. And the family of Agamemnon, which we just saw in the Odyssey, that I'm sure everybody here has seen, right? He is the son of Atreus, whose brother is Thyestes or Thuestes, right? So Atreus and Thuestes are these brothers that have this interaction around this golden lamb, right? So over here in the Jason story, you have the famous golden fleece. And on this family, we have the famous golden lamb. And this is the line of Pelops that has all of these curses and cannibalism and incest. And there's all this crazy stuff that happens in this family. So this is what we're going to be focused on. Now, in Toxicology and Antiquity, to answer that question, the reason he's anchoring this in Fleece, the reason he can't accept the lamb is because the burning purple, it's all going back to the burning purple. It's all about
back to the purple. That is the main dogma of the Ammonite world. They all have faith in this.
Everything goes back to vaginas at the end of the day. It all has to end at vaginas. So the burning purple, a mixture of Medea's vaginal excreta combined with ritual drugs, was also used as an ink. In one ancient source tells us that the golden fleece of the Argonauts, the famous mythic expedition led by Medea and Jason, was a ram skin upon which was written the formula for the cult drug compound used in the mystery rite, otherwise known as the burning purple. Quote unquote, Carl Ruck 381. We're going to look at that because Carl Ruck doesn't say burning purple. And then this is the footnote. So he's talking about, he's citing the Scholia on Argonautica. None of these citations check out. This is all BS, but you guys can look that up. And then here he also confirms that, Jason was the guardian of Medea, the cult drug formula inscribed on the fleece. And then he says that his name is connected with Io somehow with poison. This is the actual text. This is Carl Ruck's actual book. This is page 381. And there is some interesting stuff here, right? He says the secret recipe for or alchemical formula of some kind written on parchment of ram's hide, a golden lambskin, or vellum. And Medea's special formula for the chrism of Jason, the thing that she rubbed on him to make him invincible, was remembered, a lambskin of golden writing. So this is where he's getting the idea of the fleece and the writing, and that it was preserving the recipe for Medea's chrism, or the drug that she gave to Jason. There's just no burning purple here, right? And she doesn't produce it. She doesn't pull it out of her vagina.
And real quick, while we're on this thing of Carl Ruck, Occult Examiner dropped the video today. She got a response from Ruck asking, and I'm glad she did this. I'm really glad you asked, because now everyone knows that this is the real deal. Neil says you're working on an episode together. Ask him about Hillman. Angela. Oh, this is Angela. But yeah, thank you, Angela, for doing this. Thank you for sharing this with me. Yes, unfortunately, David has gone too far and has become an embarrassment. Carl Ruck. Woo! And that's just a taste of what's going to come. We have way more. Go ahead.
So he also says the color of the fleece was debatable, some claiming that it was Tyrian purple, which is interesting because I actually found a quote about the golden lamb that also said that lamb was purple, because it's the royal color, so it's associated with royalty. It could be figurative. So dyed with the royal tint derived from the shell of the sea snail or murex. The murex is a source of psychoactive DMT, which is the probable reason that the color purple became the symbol of royalty. I would contest that, but
no. Ruck himself has since abandoned this theory. This is true. Ruck did say this. Now Ruck did some real research on this and tested it out, and he discovered that this is what a real scholar does. You test your theories out. And then Ruck realized from talking to scientists and testing it out, DMT doesn't actually have, this purple actually doesn't have DMT. And he's since abandoned this theory. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
There's no citation, though, either. So it's like, he doesn't really give any justification.
He does. He gives a citation. I didn't take a screenshot of it. His citation was based on personal correspondence with somebody who reported to him that he had tested the murex and that it had DMT. And then he later found out that person's information was incorrect, but it was just coming from the citation says personal correspondence.
Correct.
And by the way, like, this is just like, I'm just doing research here, right? The golden lamb figured also in the empowerment of Atreus of Mycenae. So this is the golden lamb. and was claimed as the ultimate reason that his son Agamemnon was forced to sacrifice his daughter Iphigenia to Artemis. So this is the golden lamb. This is the golden lamb that Lucian is referring to in that
different story. Story.
In a different story. Now, this is an article by this guy Zrichenko, who basically this was my gateway into this issue of figuring out what is going on in LSJ. Why does the number 2 entry say that Lucian is referring to a fleece? Because what we'll see is when you look at Lucian, he's just referring to a lamb. Lamb is the correct translation there. Now, this is in Russian, so it says «Первая часть статьи показывает, что Арнион, вопреки словарям, не означает овчина, руно». I'm not going to read this whole thing in Russian.
You got to read Russian, yeah.
So that would be like Ammon. He pulls Greek up. He pulls Greek
Yeah.
on the screen, right? Nobody can know. So what he's saying is the first part of this paper aims to demonstrate that Arnion does not mean sheepskin fleece. Pace, LSJ. So basically, all these lexicons, GE, DGE. The only instance of this
Who wrote
unusual. This is this guy Zelchenko.
Oh, the Russian guy.
So he's like a Russian guy, yeah, or a Ukrainian.
Translation.
Yeah, so this is the translation of his abstract. So anybody can go.
This guy was reading the lexicon and decided to debunk it?
He debunked the lexicon. Yeah.
Wow.
So the only instance of this unusual meaning that is cited by all dictionaries is Lucian's On Dances 43. Manifestly deals not with the golden fleece, but with the golden lamb. Tochrisun Arnion. That's what Lucian says.
Yeah.
Of Atreus. Okay? This is evident, and that's what Carl Ruck was just referring to, right? This is evident both from the context and from the lexical usage of Euripides, Apollodorus, Eustathius, Tzetzes, Lucian himself. The sources of this lexicographical phantom, that's what he's calling it, it's a phantom, date back to the edition of Lucian by Lehmann in 18...
So this is a 19th century fuck up, right?
It's a little more complicated than that. Who rightly expunged. So basically, Lehmann expunged it. It got corrected in the 19th century.
Wait a
who
minute.
rightly expunged from the lexicon. Yeah.
You mean to tell me that lexicographers can be wrong once in a while? They're not omniscient gods and oracles?
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
I'm not going to read the rest of the well, I'll read a little bit more of this abstract. Yeah.
That can't be right.
So he rightly expunged from the text the gloss Tochrisun veras. So, in other words, he said, the golden fleece, tochrisun veras, as some recentoirs in favor of tochrisun arnion. So, if you go pick up a new copy of Lucian, it's going to say tochrisun arnion, not veras. But left
The original manuscripts all say deras?
No.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Okay.
So, arnion fleece penetrates first in the record, in the chain of custody of all of these lexical entries. It penetrates first Rost and Palm's edition of Passo's Handbook of Greek in 1841. And then LS, which is Liddell Scott, it's not LSJ because Jones hadn't joined the team yet, in 1843. So here is this example. It says this seems to indicate that Liddell and Scott had made some use of Rost and Palm's work already in the first edition of Liddell and Scott, of their initial lexicon that became the LSJ. So let me lay the groundwork here for these lexicographers so everybody knows the players that are involved in this confusion that we're dealing with today that's perpetuated by Amon Hillman. We're going all the way back to Franz Passau, right? I'm not going to read the biographies out loud. I'm just going to show them on screen. You can pause and read them. This is a German lexicographer who basically produced a handbook of Greek that Liddell and Scott translated into English.
These were scholarly gangsters back at these. We're standing on their shoulders today.
Yeah, these are the OGs. This is the guy that basically, when these Byzantine lexicons were hot off the printing press in the 17th century, 100 years later, there were they were printing these Greek volumes, including Lucian, and Passau was pouring through it, making a dictionary in German, and then the Brits just took that scholarship and said, thank you very much, and they translated it into English for us, right? So most of what we read in our LSJ is just English translations of this dude's work, who was taking it from another German predecessor. And this is what his lexicon says. It says exactly what we find in the LSJ. Arnion, little kid, little lamb, sheepskin, fleece, and then he's citing Lucian. That's his single example, Dissertatione 43. Schaffel Vleis. I don't know how to speak German. Sorry. I probably butchered that. So along comes Henry
the actual
Liddell.
man himself, Liddell, from the name.
Yes. So here we get Liddell, who is an influential classicist, theologian, and academic. He was ordained in the Church of England, by the way. He became a deacon in
all these dudes are
1836.
Protestants. They're all
He was a priest in 1830. Became a priest in 1838. So the whole idea that these Victorians were like secret, I don't know, they were Satanists or something, or they were pagans, or they somehow were aligned.
That's the deep irony here. They love these fucking LSJ entries written by fucking Christians.
Yeah, he calls them Alice, and he says that these are the Victorians. Like, these Victorians are Christians, by the way, right? Robert Scott.
They were in that state.
So we get Liddell and Scott.
Spirit.
Scott was also an Anglican priest, ordained to the Church of England in 1835. We get Henry Stuart Jones came onto the team last in the mid 19th century, and he overhauled the lexicon. But what he didn't do is he didn't go back to Lucian to justify whether or not the LSJ rightfully inherited that entry from Passau verbatim. They just translated it into English and left it, right? They didn't go back and say, did Lucian really say that? And neither did Jones. So this is what you see in LSJ. It's exactly what was posted there, right? And it's citing, for the first entry of A Little Lamb, it's citing Lysias, and it's citing Evolos, and it's citing these papyrus. So basically, there's good attestation for the Little Lamb reading, or the diminutive in the classical period, and then sheepskin fleece. But look what happens in Middle Liddell, and this is infuriating. If you had a copy of the Middle Liddell, the revised lexicon, on your shelf, and you wanted to look up the word arnion, and you picked it off your shelf and you looked it up, the only thing you would find is the sheepskin reading. That's it. And it would just say Lucian, right? It wouldn't tell you where to look. That would be extremely deceptive. Like, it would be very misleading. You wouldn't even know that this is a lamb, right?
By the way, I just realized something. He's obsessed with the diminutive, making something littler, like a Neoniskos becomes a child, but not a lamb becomes a little lamb. And he doesn't that doesn't register for his.
It becomes a fleece.
Yeah, it becomes a fleece. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we get to Walter Bauer. I just want to make sure you guys have all the names right. We got Walter Bauer, who was the German scholar that created the basis of the biblical lexicon we now call BDAG. He was the B in BDAG. We have Frederick Donker, who's the D in BDAG.
Nice.
We have Arndt and Gingrich, who are the A and the G. And these dudes put together this entry, right? And they have that Arnion is the diminutive of Arain, but no longer felt to be such in New Testament times. In other words, this is what happens. These are bleached diminutives. The same thing with Neoniskos. Those diminutive suffixes in the Hellenistic period, in the New Testament period, are no longer diminutive. They don't have diminutive force. They are diminutive form. It's called bleaching. This is documented. And what you'll notice here is that a sheep of any age, it's not just a little one, it's just a sheep. By the New Testament, it's just a sheep or a lamb. And and then they give all of it says in Revelation, it's a designation of Christ, 5, 6, 8, 12, 6. These are all of the mentions of the lamb that we're going to go through in Revelation that he says are all fleeces, right?
I can't wait to see them.
So they're not giving us the fleece reading in BDAG because they didn't inherit it from LSJ. They're going back to Bauer, and Bauer didn't copy from LSJ. Now, what happens is John Chadwick comes along. Sorry to skip around. John Chadwick comes along. He's the guy who deciphered Linear B. This is like the OG classicist. And he writes Lexicographica Graeca ripping LSJ. Like he slams LSJ for inheriting errors that they got from their German sources. They were just translating the German scholarship, and they did a sloppy job. They did a good job most of the time, but in his opinion, there were so many errors in LSJ that would take so much work to fact check and strip out that he embarked on a new from scratch lexicographical project for Cambridge University that he didn't complete before he died in 1998. And James Diggle finished it. He finished the job. This is what he finished. These are the Cambridge lexicons of Greek. And his lexicon entry for Arnion just says this: young sheep, lamb, Lysias, right? You don't see the fleece entry here because his team started from scratch and they had no reason, like they weren't beholden to LSJ. The whole point of
where the screw up happened.
This
We're gonna get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So James Diggle, this is the dude. He's basically one of the leading lexicographers on the planet right now who produced this masterpiece.
This guy's, as far as it comes to Greek, is like if this guy was in the major leagues like MLB baseball, Ammon would be like in the little grasshopper league compared to this guy. I just want people to realize that this guy doesn't even know who Ammon is. The guy's not on the radar.
So I didn't email him about Ammon, like, oh, there's this guy named David Hillman who says this weird thing about Revel. I just asked him about the lexicon entry in the LSJ. His response was, "Dear Mr. Nelson, I am sure you are right. There is no justification for the translation fleece. It is an error inherited by the LSJ from its predecessors and by Montanari and DGE, the Espanol, the Spanish dictionary from LSJ. I see that the Loeb translator Harmon gets it right. We're going to look at the Loeb translation because he translates
over Bori.
Yeah.
Look at you, dude. Look how sloppy you are.
Now to be fair, there's no. I mean, Bori had no way of knowing this.
Yeah, he just followed like a blind back. That's why I called him the back alley. I was right. He's in the back alley.
No, what he did was he looked at LSJ and said, "Hey, Ammon says it. LSJ says it. That's it."
Sure.
Yeah. Now, it is possible, like if in an alternate reality, if that entry were correct, and sometimes it were like at least in Lucian,
yeah, he'd still be lying because
he'd still be lying. Yeah,
it's the same thing that LH did when he was like, "Oh, it's drugs. Oh, Christ thing is drugs. Look, it says drugs there. It says pharmacon." Yes, it can be used for drugs. Yeah. You're not properly reading the lexicon correctly. The context matters every time. Every source you read, the context matters.
Yeah, and by the way, this isn't the only error in LSJ. This is just the one that I happened to stumble upon recently. I've found others. So the next lexicographer we're moving on to is Franco Montanari, right? So Montanari is the editor of the Brill lexicon, which is basically just like an improved version of LSJ. It doesn't cite sources as in as much detail as LSJ, but it does pretty. Like I always love consulting LSJ, Brill, BDAG. I usually have a constellation of lexicons that I consult for really difficult things, including Cambridge, right? Like for rare usages and things like that. This is his entry. His entry also has lambskin fleece B, right? Citing the exact same source. So we kind of it's creating this picture that maybe all of the lexicons have formed a consensus around this A-B definition, right? You would think that.
Go to Lucian real quick just to get that out the way because everyone's probably wondering what does Lucian say. Why?
Okay, well, so Montanari initially responds saying, "Thank you very much for bringing it to our attention. I'll inform the ones responsible." So basically his committee's going to look at this and maybe the next edition of Brill.
Look at you, dude.
So maybe this will get fixed in the next edition of Brill, so it won't say this, right? Because this is probably wrong. Now, I responded just to say, well, just so you know, this is what Professor Diggle said, because all of these people, by the way, have given me permission to quote them. And he said, I actually think Professor Diggle is right. Yes, you may quote my reply. It is simply a cautious stance for the time being, right? Because scholars are cautious. That's just what they do.
All the time.
And then Juan Rodriguez Somolinos is the last lexicographer we'll look at. He's the editor of the Diccionario Griego Español project. And this is their entry. Again, Beyosino, which you see in the bottom here, also is Tochrisun Arnion from Lucian. Exact same citation, exact same definition in Spanish. And I thought I put but his response was also, we'll look into it. Jeffrey Horrocks, another giant who wrote Greek, a story of the language. And
hell yeah. Big fucking giant, dude.
Yeah, so Jeffrey Horrocks also responded.
Oh, wow, and, you got a hold of Horrocks?
Yeah, so Horrocks told me the interesting his theory was it occurred to him. This is a second email. I don't know if I have his first one. Yeah, his first one. So he said, the history of classical scholarship is full of mechanical repetition of ideas. I'm strongly inclined to see that here. The metronymic, he meant metonymic. It was an autocorrect error. He emailed me about this. The metonymic reading really doesn't cut it for me. It just doesn't bite. While it's fine to describe the lamb with a golden fleece as the golden lamb, it's not clear why anyone would use a phrase standardly meaning the golden lamb to mean instead uniquely and without any obvious cue, the golden fleece. This story, after all, involves a lamb with a golden fleece rather than its fleece per se. And he goes on to say more.
What else I just found real quick. Okay, finish this off.
So his subsequent email, he thought about it some more and he came back to me and he said, it also occurred to me that Lucian might have written deras. He might have actually written fleece instead of lamb as a kind of joke, which would be synecdoche for lamb. And that later copyists might have substituted arnion for clarity, or it might have been a scholion, like a commentator that incorporated it. We just don't know what Lucian originally said.
This is so damning for Ammon and them.
And this is Somolinos' response. Todas las citas que incluye el DGE son revisadas al menos dos veces. So basically in Spanish, he's saying that they're going back to TLG. He'll have to look into this. And he also said that he thought and then the last scholar I consulted was Eleanor Dickey, also a big classicist. And she said she's not sure about this one. She said, on the one hand, the alleged error is possible, the error of like arnion versus deras. I told her about the textual variant. On the other hand, very classically phrased, the lamb in that story had been dead for some time. Apollodorus says that Atreus had strangled it and kept it in a box. I'm not sure that procedure would result in a golden fleece. It seems more like it would result in the total decay and a terrible smell.
I love how these scholars are so accessible and they're willing to work, like, to give you your time like this. This is awesome.
Every single scholar responded to me like within the same day, basically, because I uncovered this really interesting puzzle, right? And it's like they all ran it up the flagpole. So did you want to show something now that we're through this? Because we're going to get into Lucian.
I just wanted to show people, by the way, thank you, Martyr's Prayer. This is like with the LXX turned Kane Bosum into Calumus. Every modern Masoretic translation uses the LXX translation, often or delivery ambiguity. Oh, wow. Interesting. Thank you for that. I just wanted to show another usage of a contemporary author who's writing Koine Greek. And he's literally, this is Josephus, Jewish author writing in Greek. And what does he say? What words does he use for? Look at lamb and kid. What does he use? Arnion kai erithon. It's lamb and kid. So you have, and look at and it actually. What is this? A fleece? An individual who offers a holocaust kills an ox, a lamb, and a kid. These least being a year old. The slain oxen. Do you think they are slaying fleeces that are a year old? Come on, man. There's so much evidence against you. This is just flat out lying at this point. So
and Jewish context too.
Jewish context. Yeah. Great. Couldn't find a better source than that.
So this is the reason why all of these classicists, all these people who are very well read in Greek, just can't swallow the idea that the LSJ is correct, is because they just know these sources and because they understand the concept of lexicalization. And I wanted to explain that, if you don't mind me just setting a few terms straight. So lexicalization, lexikopisis, if we're going to frame it in Greek, is this sort of umbrella term. It's a process by which initially contextual or figurative use becomes conventional. So it's sort of idiomatic sayings, enough to function as an established lexical sense. This is what happens when you end up carving out a new sense in the dictionary and saying this word can sometimes mean this. Mouse, right? It's plug in your mouse, right? In that context, we know I'm not talking about a rodent. I'm talking about
I plugged my rodent into my thing.
Yeah, I'm talking about the one for my computer, right? That I have my hand on right now. This is my mouse.
Also, guys, they're plugging rodents into the computers is a ritual.
Also, chicken, right? So we ate chicken. We're not talking about the living bird. We're talking about its meat, right? We're talking about part of the chicken, but we just call it chicken, right? It doesn't include the feathers. Mink. Mink is an animal. Mink is an animal, but a lot of the time when we talk about mink, we're talking about the fur. So this is conceptually exactly what Ammon is saying is happening. They're talking, this philologically, this happens. Hawk. So she's a foreign policy hawk, right? The sense of the word transitions from a bird of prey, which it still has that literal sense, but then it refers to an advocate of aggressive military policy, or a radical. A radical can be a political smear where you just talk about the radicals demanding sweeping reform. Radical initially meant root. It meant something of the root, the radical, like a radish. And then it took on the sense of a fundamental and then a political advocate. So in Greek, examples of lexicalization that are very common is angelos, right? So when we say angel, we don't think of it actually meaning messenger. Originally, it meant messenger, and in the Jewish and Christian context, it becomes lexicalized as a divine being, an angel, right? In the classical period, that didn't exist. For the classical period, there were messenger gods, but they were still messengers. It's like Hermes was a messenger. Christos is another example. Christos is this word that the Ammonites fail to understand. They can't understand it because Ammon has warped their brains.
Yeah.
But this is just an example of lexicalization, right? Yeah. So it starts out as an adjective, it becomes substantivized, it becomes a noun, it becomes a title, and then it becomes someone's name, right? It starts out as anointed, literally, then it becomes the anointed one or the Messiah, right? So it's the Lord's anointed. Now, phoenix, right? Phoenix it was also lexicalized in the sense of palm tree that becomes palm branch. So they're not holding palm trees in their hands. When they're holding something in their hands, you know it must be a branch, not the whole tree. But to your point earlier, tavaya ton phoenikon, right? The branches of the palm trees in John 12:13, that's totally ambiguous. They can't be holding purple drugs there because it's branches of the phoenixes. It's branches.
It uses the word branch in there too?
Yes, tavaya.
So, I didn't even know that.
So that's the branches of the phoenixes in the plural, the genitive plural. But then in Revelation 7:9, they're just holding phoenikes, right? Phoenikes. They're just holding palm branches. That literally means the palm tree, but when they're holding it in their hands, it becomes the branch. That's called lexicalization. So that means it gets a special definition in the dictionary.
Yeah, what's more likely? That they're doing the same thing that's happening in John, which is a Jewish tradition of holding palm trees from Sukkot, or they just randomly decided that's not going to mean that. It's going to be purple. They're holding purple dye in their hand.
Yeah. And then the other word that Ammonites can't stomach is listis. They think it means sex trafficker. It is simply this another example of socio-political semantic extension. It is lexicalization. You're taking something that originally meant bandit, and in the Roman period, specifically in the New Testament and in Josephus, it becomes a term for a political smear, just like we had radical, like all those radicals, right? They're not radicals, they're just protesters, right? But the Romans would dismiss all of these political outlaws and these insurrectionists and guerrillas by calling them lestai, right? Lestai. So, and this happens in the New Testament. In John 18:40, Barabbas was literally an insurrectionist because he's placed among the insurgents in Mark, and he's called lestes, right? He's not a sex trafficker. He's an insurrectionist in that context in the Roman period. Yeah, so this becomes lexicalized so that it deserves its own entry in the dictionary, where originally something that meant bandit ends up being a political smear like radical. So we're not talking about some mystical process that only happens in Greek. It happens in English. Mouse, chicken, mink, hawk. Those are just a few examples. Now, metonymy is the last concept I want to establish. Metonymy is discussed. This is part of Greek rhetoric, right? So in Greek rhetoric, metonymy this is coming from Concordius, is a word employed in place of another because of some association between the things they denote, right? And so the cups were filled with Dionysus, right? Or conversely, the discoverer may be named through the things discovered. So Demeter stands for grain, right? In other words, I could be drinking my Dionysus and eating my Demeter, and people know, like, it's a word that stands in for another concept. In modern Greek today, if you eat your cereal, you're eating your Demeter. The Dimitriaka.
Cereal. No,
cereal.
In Latin they call her Ceres, and it's cereal. Yeah.
Yeah. So like when my son's eating cereal in the morning, he's eating Dimitriaka. It's Demeter, right? It's just it's a stand-in for grain because she represents the grain.
Yeah.
That's called metonymia, which means like meta name. It's like the meta name. Now, the example that you find in English, just so we can bring this down to English, the White House, like the White House put out a statement, right? That means like the press secretary put out the statement, right? It's not the House talking. This is metonymy, right? Christos is metonymy. It's the anointed one. It goes from a literal ritual anointing to divine appointment. That's what that usage is called. It's not metaphorical. It's metonymy. It's just not literal, right? The anointed one. And synecdoche, explicitly in Pseudo-Tryphon, he says that synecdoche is an expression not stated in full, but requiring some accompanying element to be supplied from outside it. And the example he gives, there are several varieties of synecdoche. This is just ancient Greek rhetoric that we've inherited today. This is a term in English too. Some indicate the whole from the part, and sometimes it's the part from the whole. So dried oxen means the hides, okay? So voas avas tas virsas, right?
It makes sense that you dry it out to make it a hide, yeah.
Yeah, so if when you just talk about the oxen eating grass, of course you're not talking about their hides. But if the oxen are dried, and if you're making like belts out of them, well, now we're not talking about oxen anymore. We're talking about the hides. But you don't need to refer to the hides. So conceptually, when Passau put that in there, his misunderstanding was founded on the idea that it was synecdoche. And if you look back at Horrocks' email, he also said, well, maybe what Lucian really said was the fleece, and then that was synecdoche. He was referring to the fleece. He was referring to the whole animal as the fleece, as a joke. So synecdoche is a figure of speech in which a part represents the whole, or the whole represents a part. All hands on deck. That means the people. You want all the people on the deck. You don't want to cut off their hands and throw them on the deck, right? We have the hands are the sailors. I'm wearing my fox, right? That means that's a pelt made from fox. The fox isn't going to bite you if you're wearing it because it's dead. It's skinned. It's the pelt. I'm wearing my alligators. That's your alligator shoes, right? I got bit by an alligator. Those aren't your shoes, right? We know from context what people mean when they use the word. And fleece, just so everybody, I'll skip over this, but this, deras, deros, koas, nakos, lots of different words for fleece. And this was what was being disputed in those comments, just so everybody has these entries. Now, in Revelation, I think you wanted to skip to Lucian, right?
Yeah, because it's the one citation.
Yeah, it's the linchpin. So let's
look at. Probably wondering what does it actually say.
What does Lucian say?
Yeah.
So Lucian says on dances, this is 42. We're just going to lead into with the context, right? Then comes Corinth, also full of myths, since she has Glauce and Crayon, and before them Bellerophon and Stenophobia, and the quarrel between Helios and Poseidon. Afterwards, the madness of Athamas and the flight of the children of Nepheli through the air on the back of the ram. So here we have a ram, and the reception of Ino and Melikritis.
The word is Krio.
Melikritis. Yeah, so this is Krios. Krios is a ram. Right. But then he transitions and says the next is the story of the descendants of Pelops. And that was that family tree I showed earlier with Mycenae and what happened there. And previously, Inachos, Io, and her warder Argos, and Atreus, and Thyestes, and Ariope, and the golden lamb, To Chrysun Arnion, okay? There it is. Yeah, the defloration of Pelopeia, and then going on the slaying of Agamemnon and the punishment of Clytemnestra. So he's recounting in very quick fashion all of these different myths. And he gets to Chrysun Arnion. So in order for the number 2 entry in LSJ to be correct, and our hypothesis, like we're trying to weigh, is it correct or is it incorrect? You have to look at this passage in Lucian and tell yourself that when he refers to the lamb, he's using synecdoche, whole to part synecdoche that we just discussed, and that what he really means here is the golden fleece. And not only that, that this rises to the level of lexicalization where anyone reading this would immediately understand, oh, he's talking about the fleece. And the conclusion of all of these scholars that I have consulted on this, and I think just common
is that a different
sense.
myth? I forgot to ask. Is that a different myth?
This is the myth of, this is the Atreid golden lamb. That is what it is called in the classical period.
Not the one that's guarded by the dragon where Medea is
No,
in Colchis.
no. This is not the golden. This is not the famous golden fleece.
This is what I'm saying. Even if you give, like, I tried to explain this to Ion in that back and forth. Even if you go with the lexicon that's trying to, go with Lucian, and you have, like, it can mean this, he's still lying. Because in that video, he says it's the fleece that's guarded by the dragon where she sings her song. Talking about Medea. He's talking about a very specific golden fleece from the Argonautica. Period. Yeah. You can't give him this. This is not. You're now in a different story. You're in a whole different thing now.
Yeah. So really, if you just read this in the Greek or the English or any translation, there's no contextual indication here that he's talking about the fleece. Now, there is later development that we'll look at where this golden lamb, it gets killed, and basically rather than sacrifice it to Artemis, Atreus keeps it for himself. And Eleanor Dickey was saying, well, if you think about it, if he kills the lamb and he puts it in a box and it gets transferred to his brother, it's going to be this rotting carcass, right? And I think the issue is that in this period, and especially in like the classical period, there was this reluctance to refer to this lamb as a fleece. Even after it is killed, they never describe Atreus skinning it and converting it into a fleece, even though technically you would want to do that if you're going to put it in a box and store it later, right? You don't want to, you're not going to store a carcass. That's what Dickey was indicating. So there is some logic, and there is a later development in this narrative in the Byzantine period where it does become a fleece. And I think that is what led to the problem that we experience in the lexicon, which now gets us into the section about textual criticism, right? Because if you look at this edition, and this is, just so I have it clear, this is the 1743 edition by Johann Reitz. This is printed. This is second. There's a secondary Greek reading here. And so in this Reitz edition in the 18th century, you can see at the end of the line, ke to chrysun deras. So here,
That's
Lucian
deras.
so Lucian is not saying here the golden lamb. He's saying the golden fleece.
Wait, which one's the old? Where's the original? What's the oldest manuscript we have? Which one does that say?
Well, this is a printed edition that's going back to some handwritten manuscripts.
Yeah.
There's a critical apparatus. So he's basically saying, this is on that same page. He's saying that the reading of Deras is coming from these sources. So in the 18th century, there were 3 authoritative editions of Lucian printed. W, L, and FL. I didn't go and memorize these names. I have it written down. That read Arnion instead of Deras. And then the remaining witnesses in P read Deras. So in the 18th century, if you were going to go to a library and get yourself copies of Lucian, and you had these different versions, some versions would say the golden fleece, and some of them would say the golden lamb. And he says at places chrysun Deras. So his later note on this is his note. Okay. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, like, do we know of any old manuscripts that have the Arnion, or is it wouldn't matter, because they wouldn't go as far back as to like we don't have what Lucian wrote. We don't have the first person who copied Lucian or the second person. We have like 20 copies later. The same problem exists with the New Testament, but we have like lots of manuscripts of the New Testament. Where's this one coming from then?
This is just a printed edition, and this is a critical edition of Lucian from the 18th century.
This might be what it actually says.
He doesn't know. This is look at his note. He says, when I noted among the variant readings, so he has a bunch of different versions. He's trying to decide which one's real, which one's authentic. So what I noted among the variant readings had already been recorded distinctly by Solanus in the margin of the Hague edition, but in the Junetime edition, he recorded the same thing somewhat differently, namely that manuscript L of Lucian inserts Arnion so that one might suppose both Deras and Arnion were read in that manuscript, that he said both words. If that is true, oh wow, you get a big super chat?
Well, I just wanted to say, I don't want to cut you off. I was waiting for you done, but thank you, Howard, for the. I think that's Nordic, right? I don't know. Thank you for the 200, though. I appreciate you. Amon Pillman, been a fraud all his life, and just since we're on super chats, the Lightbringer, Lucifer, Heos in the house, 9.99. Amon stalking and sexual harassment stuff is obviously bad. The obfuscation of the truth and deception, abusing his credentials, is really significant too. Great point. The truth, precision, and humility matter. Absolutely, dude. Well said, dude. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you. Thank you for the support, guys. Thank you. Also, we got some members.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Cult Examiner joined.
Oh, nice.
Woo! And what's poppin'? Thank you very much. I appreciate all you guys.
So Wrights doesn't know. He just says that he says, if that's true, I scarcely doubt that the manuscript intended to give, or actually does give, Teras Arniu, the fleece of the lamb. This, however, could have arisen from a gloss. So that means that basically in the Byzantine period, someone wrote into the margin next to Arniu, they said like Teras. They wrote like fleece. And this is what caused the confusion, where eventually this image right here is from, let me just make sure I get the proper attribution. This is from the 1825 edition by Lehman. This is the edition that restores the correct reading of the Greek, or at least what we have today is the correct reading, to Chrisun Arnion, right? And he notes that this is basically the correct version. He confirms it in his critical apparatus. But at the bottom, he leaves the Latin translation of fleece, Aureum Velis, golden fleece. So here you have a printed edition in the 19th century that has the Greek on one side, the Latin on one side. They updated the Greek, but didn't update the Latin.
Wow.
And this is what this is where the rabbit trail leads.
And that's interesting, because in the Latin it could have said golden lamb, but it says golden fleece.
So this is 1825.
All the evidence is pointing in our direction. Just at every corner we go.
So
he's got like a string left at this point.
So if you're Passo, or at least you're revising Passo's manual. I don't know what Passo's first edition actually said, but if you go and look this up, what you're going to see is you're going to see a Latin translation of the Greek. You're going to see to Chrisun Arnion on one side, and on the other side, Aureum Velis, and you're going to think, oh, wait a minute. It says lamb, but it's translated as fleece. I'm going to put a number 2 definition here just to be safe, right? That maybe lamb means fleece. That's what this is. This is the smoking gun right here.
Not knowing that 200 years later, some guy abusing the shit out of it.
Yeah, you did. So basically, Passau is like, so the revisers to Passau are basically creating this gift for Amon Hillman hundreds of years later. It says on the same passage for golden fleece, we have lamb according to Solanus. And this is the note. What I recorded among the variant readings, Solanus had clearly noted in the margin of the H edition, but in the Junetine edition, he noted the same thing somewhat differently. This is what we read this earlier. So in terms of like, how common is it, you have to ask yourself, to tell this story to refer to the golden fleece instead of the golden lamb? That's what we read. Like, what was Lucian reading in order to inform his narrative about this story? Well, we have it in Euripides, and I'm not going to read Euripides in depth, but Chrysean Arna Kalipokon, so a lamb with lovely fleece of gold. So this Kalipokon is like lovely fleeced, right? Chrysean Arna. So, but this is still the golden lamb, not the golden fleece, but it describes its fleece. It is a lamb that has a golden fleece. Later on, he calls it a golden lamb, right? Chryseas Arnos. That's not Arnion. It's the classical form. It's not the diminutive. And it's the horned lamb with the fleece of gold, right? This is Euripides, Chryseas Arnos. So I'll cut to the chase and just say that source after source, Euripides, lots of this was a very popular story of this Atreid, of the Atreid lamb, the Atreid golden lamb that he had to sacrifice to Artemis and didn't, right? This all plays into the curse of the house of Pelops and Tantalus and Atreus, right? This is a cursed family. And time after time, you see golden lamb, golden fleeced lamb, golden lamb. None of these in Plato's Statesman, he says, Chrysis Arnos, right? Of the golden lamb, tis Christis arnos. So it would have been weird to refer in this period to that animal as the golden fleece because there was already a really famous golden fleece. And so when you add up all of this evidence, if you're really well read, you can see if he took a shepherd, this is Anaxandrides. So if he took a shepherd's lamb as a joke, he was dubbed Atreus. If a ram, Phrixos, and if a fleece, Jason, right? The fleece was associated with Jason. The lamb was associated with Atreus. And that's the same thing that we saw in Karl Ruck.
Damn,
Varro,
dude, you're slam dunking on these fools right now, dude.
now there is you can see it going into Latin. You can see them talking about the fleeces of gold, like the costliness. Some sheep actually had fleeces of gold. Again, I did the research. I did the work. I can't even in Apollodorus. You can see Arnos Chrysis, Arna Chrysin, the golden lamb. The Scholia on Euripides in the 13th and 14th century, jumping way ahead. This, in the Byzantine period, is where you start to see these formulations. You see golden lamb, that's the common one. But here's where you start to make out how did this even slip into the Lucian tradition, right? To chrysun ekinoderas, tu chrysumalu arniu, that golden fleece of the golden fleeced lamb. This looks a lot like the kind of marginal note that a Byzantine scribe might write into Lucian that would then confuse a later copyist into thinking that what Lucian really said was to chrysun deras. This is to chrysun ekinoderas. This is what we found in that textual variant of Lucian, right? That it continues to say tu chrysumalu arniu, so it is still the golden lamb, the golden fleeced lamb. But this is another kind of, it's not a smoking gun. We don't know as a matter of fact that this is the cause of the Lucian textual variant. But this is like really good evidence of like just a lot of confusion. And I'm not going to go through all of these. I dug up a bunch of these scholia, right? The golden fleeced hide. Here you have chrysomalon derma, the golden fleeced skin, basically. So this is basically where you get, and I'm now at Mark 14. This is the explanation for why the LSJ has this apparent error, and why the textual tradition is seemingly faulty. The lexicographical tradition is faulty.
Can you give a summary, just like really quick summary of everything you just talked about?
Yeah. So basically, lamb means lamb. Whenever you see references to lamb in ancient Greek literature, 99.99999% of the time, it's just going to refer to that animal.
As we saw with Josephus just now.
Yeah. But there are occasions in all languages where you can refer to the animal in your actual, what you actually imply as the hide. That is this concept called synecdoche or metonymy. And whenever that happens in a language frequently enough to where it's like an idiom, it's called lexicalization. And whenever a usage becomes lexicalized, that is a green light for the lexicographer making a dictionary to say mink, mink is an animal. Number 2 definition of mink is a pelt, because people wear that pelt so much, it just becomes like an idiom. It becomes a fixed part of the language, and that word now has a new meaning. But you can't justify that. You can't say that it's lexicalized if the only citation you have is one author. And if that one author isn't even saying what you think he's saying, and he's not, Lucian says the golden lamb, period, end of sentence. In some manuscripts, he says the golden fleece, and maybe he was joking and referring to the lamb as the fleece. But that one example, even if Lucian was doing that, even if Lucian said the golden lamb and what he meant was the golden fleece, like in an alternate reality, or just grant that for the sake of argument, that still doesn't make the number 2 definition reasonable. And all of the modern lexicographers have confirmed to me personally that they agree that definition is not reasonable. It probably arose because of this textual confusion. And the subsequent edition of the Brill lexicon, thanks to Amon Hillman, is probably going to be corrected. I mean, partly thanks to me, but let me give credit where credit is due. Amon lied over and over and over again. I fact-checked him. I consulted the scholars, including the guy who wrote this lexicon, and they were like, "Oh no, that's an error, and they're gonna fix it, and we're gonna get it fixed."
Oh, continue your summary. Go ahead.
So that's the summary. So basically, in the context of Revelation that I would like to look at before I wrap up my spiel, it is very clear in the context that if in an alternate reality, if the author of Revelation said that they hung up the lamb to dry, and then they wrapped, they wrote on the lamb, and then they rolled up the lamb, or they cast the lamb on their shoulder. Like there are contexts where you could hypothetically talk about a lamb and mean its fleece, right? Like in context, that would make sense. If the lamb were all dried out and you were writing on it, it would be the fleece of a lamb. It would be a pelt of a lamb. If you were wearing it as a coat, Hercules famously, he slays the Nemean lion, right? And then he takes its pelt and he wears it, right? And it's always referred to as the lion, but when he's wearing it, it's the lion's pelt. It never refers to it as just the lion. So that means you can't go into the dictionary and even if an author did say that, Hercules walked in wearing the lion, that doesn't mean that you go into the dictionary for lion and you carve out a number 2 definition and you say it refers to the lion's pelt. Greek authors didn't do that, and Lucian didn't do that. That's my summary.
And you mentioned something right before you finished that about him lying, and then we go and figure these things out. We learn a bunch of crazy shit. This is why I do this part. People rightfully call me out and go, "You need to just leave him alone. It's all nonsense. We get it. You don't have to keep telling us. We can see it. We're like, it's so obvious. He's full of shit." But I do actually learn a lot from looking into this stuff. And even though we start off with some complete bullshit claim, then I go and dig into these lexicons. I read through the primary sources. I get a hold of a few scholars, and I actually learn shit from this process. So
I just learned a ton this week.
Yeah, this is something positive if you think about it.
Yeah, and I think anybody watching the stream who's nerdy enough to watch the stream just learned a whole bunch about why you can't simply take what the lexicon says and just blindly trust it 100% of the time. You have to be open to the possibility that your LSJ may have simply translated something some German did a few centuries earlier, who got it from some other German a century earlier, who got it from some Byzantine scribe a century earlier, who may not have known what the hell Plato was even talking about. So, and I'm not saying that Diggle's Cambridge lexicon is 100% correct. There's probably some errors in here. And if I found one, I would let Diggle know and he would fix it. That's how scholarship works. It's not people declaring things from on high that they have the authority. That's what Ammon does. That's what cults do.
Like these lexicographers were tapped into the muse, and even though there's no primary source, the lexicon is the muse. That matters more than the actual primary frickin' sources. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
It says on the lexicon right there, Neil. Yeah, okay, what source though? I don't know. What does that matter? That's what LH told me. What does that matter? It matters. These are supposed to be sources.
Yeah, I very rarely, or if ever, see any Ammonite cite a lexicon and then cite the source that's behind the definition that they're leaning on.
Because if they went to that source, they would go, "Oh shit, the context is different.
Yeah,
there's a reason why
else.
It means drug here,"
Yeah,
or whatever the case is.
So just looking carefully at Revelation, there are just so many contextual clues that this can't be a fleece. This can't be an inanimate object that is just the skin, the dead skin that they're writing a drug formula on. First of all, the scroll is written a scroll written inside and on the back, sealed up with 7 seals. The scroll, the Vivlion, it has the seals on it. So we're already not in a medical context for the Sphragides, right? This is Sphragisinepta, so of 7 seals. And then Anixe to Vivlion, lise ta Sphragides aftu, right? To open the scroll and break its seals. So this is the second point that he made, that the Sphragides is an anal suppository, and that by opening the seal, you're really just
ignore the word biblion. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. And he acknowledges, by the way, go back and watch what he said. He said the seal on the book. It's a seal on the book. No. Well, what is Biblion?
Biblion's doing in that accusative case?
And you know what they'll say, because I know their answer to this. It's that, well, if you go to the PGM, they were sticking scrolls up their asses. And that's what this is.
It's always the PGM.
That's going to be.
The PGM, whenever it references Christianity, it's after the Gospels.
Yeah.
The PGM is like drawing from Gospel and Gnostic literature.
So if you just go through chapter 5, you can see open the scrolls and the 7 seals, and then the lamb, the fleece, is standing as if slaughtered, right? Because it's not slaughtered, it's resurrected, because it's referring to Jesus, right? So already estikos, standing, fleeces don't stand. So immediately the first time this thing is mentioned, you know that it's animate. It's not a fleece. It has 7 horns and 7 eyes. Fleeces don't typically have horns and eyes, whatever. He took the scroll out of the right hand of him who sat on the throne. So he takes the scroll. Again, he takes the scroll, right? Elavento vivlion. He takes the scroll. This is still talking about the lamb. So this lamb is active. It's doing stuff. It's not a fleece. It doesn't have something written on it. Nobody ever writes on it. And then the lamb that was slaughtered, right? It's not a fleece that was slaughtered. You could say that, like, oh, you slaughter a lamb and then you make a fleece out of it. But how is this lamb doing?
Yeah, that's not going to happen in 5 seconds.
Yeah, because the lamb broke. It broke off one of the 7 seals. That's what it did, right? So, inixento arnion, right? Mian ektoneptas fragidon. So a fleece can't do that. And basically it just goes on and on.
Doesn't the lamb talk too?
I don't think so.
Because
he broke the second seal.
Here? He is the lamb.
He is the lamb, but he's not talking.
Okay, but he's the Passover lamb, though.
He's breaking seal after seal after seal. So it's just, there are these verbs, inixen, right? Anignimi. So he broke the 6th seal. He broke the 7th seal. He has wrath. How can a fleece have wrath? Right? The iorgi tu arnio. And then
orgy. It's an orgy. It's a fleece and an orgy.
Yeah, exactly. You got to find some definition. And then here's the palm branches in their hands.
Hold on. Does it actually have the word branch in there though?
No, it's just phoenikes.
That one just has phoenikes. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
He's exploiting that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's exploiting the fact that it doesn't have that word. I got it.
And then the blood of the lamb. Fleeces don't have blood. And then the lamb in the center of the throne will be their shepherd. How is a fleece going to be their shepherd?
Will be their shepherd, right?
And will guide them to the springs of the water of life, right? He goes on and on about this water of life thing, but he's ignoring the fact that this just can't be
Ammonites watching this, if any of you are still here. What's more likely, that this is a reference to the Exodus Lamb of God motif being applied to Jesus, who's the sacrifice because he died on the cross, or this author just randomly making the golden fleece into a main character for some reason, which isn't even the case in the Argonautica.
Yeah.
Well, let alone, why would he just randomly be the main character here when he's not the main? The fleece isn't like the center character of the Argonautica story. You know what I mean? It's the treasure. It's not a character though. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
In this case, it's a character.
Right. And then we have finally Keidon, and I saw, right, which is the point of the view of the, well, it's and seeing, Keidon, Tinyeneka Methiusan. So the woman, she was drunk, right? Ektu ematos tu ton agion, ke ektu ematos ton martyron isu. So the witnesses, she was drunk on the blood of the saints and the blood of the witnesses of Jesus. Ke thavmasa. So again, Neil, what is a thavmasa?
She was amazed.
No.
What is
no.
it? What is it?
No. I was amazed. I was amazed.
Okay. My bad. I'm
you're remembering Ammon's lie.
Yeah.
So he says the Gunaika was amazed, but what would that be? Well, Tinyeneka ke what if you wanted to say what he said, what would it be?
It would
Thauma.
Ate. I thought mate.
No, Thaumase. Or Thaumasen with the new movable.
Yeah, it's pretty close. That's probably why.
Thaumasate would be you in the plural. That's I think what you were reaching for. Idonaftin, right? And idon is this masculine participle. So if it were the woman seeing something, it would be Idusa, right? So this is just like, and it's Aftin. It's he sees her, like I saw her. So if you go back and listen to what he said that she was amazed at what she saw and she was drunk. Yeah, she's drunk. That's true. But he mistranslated this really, really, really badly. And anybody who's just in like, chapter 2 or 3 of Hansen and Quinn is just kind of like, just starting to learn all this stuff. They need to really ask themselves, like, why did my Greek teacher take a really simple sentence and make it say something completely different and like violate the grammar that I'm learning from that person? And that really is like this, just to sum up, there are lots of people making false claims on the internet. There are people producing videos about, the earth being flat and about, like just lots of bunk, right? I could debunk a lot of things. I'm not interested in debunking any of that stuff. It's not really my thing. My thing is Greek. So there's one person on the entire internet who does nothing but make a constant stream of content lying about Greek. And that's what I'm interested in addressing, because I'm interested in teaching people real Greek. And I want people to learn Greek. And I don't think it's good to have this constant stream of misinformation. And all the professionals in the field, like, they don't want to rise to the occasion to debunk this stuff. So I've taken it upon myself to address these lies. If he would stop telling lies and just start teaching Greek and just be a normal person, I would have nothing to say. I would be like, yes, go, like, even if he wants to run a satanic cult or whatever, like, go with God, do your thing, but don't lie about Greek. If you're going to lie about Greek, I'm going to correct it. Yeah. And that's, I think you would probably echo the same sentiment.
Be a bullshit about Greek all day long, but then don't try to pretend that what you're doing is an academic endeavor. Go and just go and do your own shit. Like, I know plenty of people who make shit up all day and they talk about aliens and all this stuff, and it's like, but they don't actually go, scholars are wrong and I'm right. They just do it. Just go be like that. Just go do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just go in your own corner.
And there are two different, we talked about this, there are two different kinds of wrong here. There's Ammon wrong, which is basically Ammon knows, like, between all of us, like, if you were in a private room with him and you weren't, he knew he wasn't being recorded and you were just like having a beer with him, he would admit, like, yeah, I know it's a lamb. It's just a lamb. You can tell it's so obvious it's a lamb.
I know that for a fact, because when we had a conversation about the Septuagint, and I think Chewie might have been there. I don't know. She's always like behind the screen. But I remember showing him, I go, dude, your Septuagint is not the original. Here's why. And I showed him one of the manuscripts from the Dead Sea Scrolls, or it might have been, Dead Sea Scrolls. And I showed him that there's a variation in the text, and it has Yahweh instead of Kurios. And he was like, damn, Neil, you're good. That's how he talks private. Publicly, he would say something to go, no, I got more experience, you're wrong, or something. Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's a difference between Ammon being wrong and simply like lying. Like, he knows what the truth is, he just refuses to say it because he wants to spin his own lies. And then his followers, who just come out en masse and like troll the comments and and just and they don't know. Like, they don't know that this is a lamb. Apparently, maybe some of them do. Maybe some of them are also lying.
Glory has no idea that it even can mean lamb.
Yeah, I think he's just genuinely confused, and he's being actively confused by the person that he's trusting to teach him true information, and he's being lied to, and he's being deceived.
Right. That's why. That's why it's ironic that they call it. He's saying everything else is the back alley when he's literally the one taking people in the back alley.
Yeah, and that makes me
use that metaphor. Do it right, because that's you guys.
Yeah, so that makes me sad. I would like to just tell people the truth, or at least like do some research and present it here and let people decide for themselves. But I think this is all really interesting stuff. I don't know, like, Zach, do you have any thoughts? You've been auditing this.
Man. What do you got?
I was going to say, if you guys want to learn more about Greek, you should get some tutoring from Steven, because he's a real good Greek teacher. Really good stuff, and he's pretty cheap too. But I was actually going to say something real quick. Neil was right about the lamb talking, because in Revelation 22, it combines the God and the lamb. And then
Yeah,
Then
I
later
could've
it
thought
has. Yeah, look at that. You're smarter than you thought. But
let's
then
pull it up. Let's just show them.
the God talks later. So
It's Revelation 22. What?
yeah,
Turn to what?
22 1 to 3. I gotta actually look at
I
the.
got it.
I pulled it up. If you want to,
Beat you to it.
just
Then
don't
the
pull
angel
up
showed me
the.
the river of the life.
But you pulled up the NRSV. The reason that those verses
Oh.
are not properly rendered is because we're
Let's do
updating the
NAS.
Technical
NRSV tonight.
difficulties.
Sorry, we're doing a software
Yeah,
patch
it's the
tonight
first
on
one.
the NRSV.
22 1.
Oh, he showed
Yeah,
me a
so
river
it
of life
says
clear
coming from the throne of God and of the Lamb. So it's combining them.
Yeah,
And then later the God talks.
in the same passage.
Yeah.
Oh, right
it's,
here.
It is 22.
And behold, I am coming quickly. You're right. That's him. Blessed is the one who keeps the words of the prophecy of this book. Yeah, and he talks. There we go.
But that's the
So-
Lamb talking.
Well, it
Well,
says
it combines the Lamb and God. Like
yeah.
so
throne
they're
of God
talking.
and the Lamb. And this is like a dyadic kind of figure, right? That's probably one way to look at it, I think.
I mean,
The
one
throne of
test
God
you
and the Lamb will be in it.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
one test you can do if you're just working this through and you're distrustful of us because we're the brothel and all. You know, if you're trying to unwash your brain, you might want to just take an English translation and just tape the word fleece over every instance of lamb and read it from top to bottom. Like read all of Revelation and just replace every instance of lamb with fleece and see how much sense it makes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah, so I should correct myself. So it's not terribly clear that it combines them, but when it says lamb, it's like I think you can make a good argument it's referring to Jesus.
That's
So
what I said.
God
It says,
and Jesus,
I am
and
right
then
here.
later in 22:16 it says, "I Jesus have sent my angel."
That's what I'm
So,
saying. Right here,
yeah.
he says, "I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end." I mean, that's Jesus saying that, right? Who is the Lamb?
Or God, whatever it is. I mean,
Yeah.
God and Jesus talking in this end. It like doesn't really matter.
You're right. This is more clear right here. What you
Yeah.
said. I Jesus have sent my angel, and it's like, where did he come from? Well, the Lamb was already there, so that makes sense.
It doesn't really matter that much the argument. You have like 17 other arguments that
that's-
disprove Ammonite, but yeah.
Yeah, but still, no, that's another thing to tack on.
Oh, by the way, guys, I'm like, I think I'm 30 subscribers away from. I'm at 2,970 subscribe. If 30 people listening go subscribe to Cross Bible Official, I might hit 3,000 pretty soon.
Really? Go.
Yeah.
Let's pull up your channel so they can see what you look
Oh,
like.
I can't post it in the comment. I got blocked, but I was going to say subscribe to @Cross Bible Official in the comments.
How'd you get blocked?
Well, I mean, you can't post a link.
A link? Oh.
I guess I could just subscribe.
Well, here's
to-
what I'll do. There's a channel, guys, @Cross Bible. Look, just type in Cross Bible, and hit subscribe. All of you watching, 500 people. All of you do it right now.
Or you could join, but I'm basically I'm like 30 subscriptions away from a 3,000 mark. So
That
would be fun.
Oh, really? 2.97 is only 30? I thought that was 30. No, is that
2,970. Yeah.
This would be 100. This would be 10. You're right. I didn't basic math. Yeah, everyone. Let's try to get that up there right now, dude. We need 30. It was 500 people watching, dude. 500 people watching, right? Is that how many people watching?
I can't
Yeah.
see the number of everybody watching. But,
515 right now on YouTube, and it might be a few people over on.
Yeah,
I didn't even go live on. I didn't even go live on Twitch actually, or Twitter. So for the people watching, 30 of you, jump over there right now. Let's get him over. Let's get him over the mark right now.
All right,
And-
thank you. Yeah, if you
Oh, sorry,
appreciated my
2.98.
presentation.
We're at 2.98.
Oh
We just got 10 more.
man, almost
Ooh,
there.
Nice.
Let's see. Let's hold on, and then I'll throw up Zach's channel next.
Yeah, give it to 2,000.
Yeah, let's get him to 2K. All right, which one? You have two channels. Which one do you want to?
I'm in Hillman News.
I'm in Hillman News. Let's do it.
You better be subscribed.
Boom. Oh, this is my second channel, by the way. That's why I'm on my second channel. No, seriously, I'm definitely subscribed on my channel.
Okay, Neil.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know why I'm signed into this account right now. To be honest, I don't even know what made me sign into
This
this
is
account.
your alt account for defending yourself.
this is just my second channel. I usually never log in here to to look at stuff. I'm usually not on here, but it's cool. Now you have 2 subscriptions from me now. So,
Oh yeah, baby.
everyone go subscribe. Get over 1,000. You can get this channel monetized, right?
Yeah, 1,000. I feel like it went up. I don't know.
Let's get into 1,000 because I think you need 1,000 to monetize, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Look
It's
at
like-
there's me right there. I'm one of the members. I'm one of the crew members. There's 3 LH. I love
No,
how you did
4.
that, dude. Because he's watching himself, watching himself, watching himself. There's 3 of them there. Is that his face on a woman?
The AI just like took the head
good.
that I put on the woman and then gave him hair.
Nice.
You gotta put Bori in there.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
He's the general.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
so I think I got 15 people. So I'm at 29,85 right now.
Let's see.
So I got
0.98.
15 more.
There might be some people. Maybe, a lot of times the streams, people are behind by a minute or 2. They might be catching up to it right now, and you'll see it jump over. So
Was there anything you wanted to touch on, like some of the Hebrew stuff? I didn't really prepare anything on the Hebrew stuff.
me?
Yeah.
Did I say anything about Hebrew?
You wanted to do the LOI.
Oh yes, that's part. We got to go to the clip. Go back to the clip now. So we can
PGM
it's in the same video because I want to show him say that first. While you're pulling that up, though, I think it's worth me showing the actual images of the golden fleece.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So now this one's not ancient, but I just want people to know, like even now, everyone knows it's a ram. It's ram. See the ram horn? That's not a lamb. Lambs don't have horns like that. That's a ram. But you might be thinking, Neil, you're cheating. That's modern. What about the ancients? What do they say? Okay, good point. So this is from 5th century BC.
Oh my gosh.
See the ram's horns?
So is that supposed to be the fleece?
That's the golden fleece right there. It's got ram's horns on it because it's made from a ram.
Didn't even take the horns off.
Yeah, no, that's how you would have a fleece though. It would have the rams on there, or the ram horns on it. That's a good way. It's actually really nice looking that way.
Yeah.
But notice it's not a lamb; it's a ram. Big difference. It's the krios. This is a different word. If you wanted to call this if you wanted to do what is that term you use, Stephen? When you actually just call it by the mink idea, it's a mink.
Oh,
right?
it's called synecdoche.
If you wanted to pull a synecdoche on this, you would say this is a Creo, right? Krios, Creon.
Yeah.
Right. You wouldn't
So
call
basically-
this Arnion, ever.
Yeah. So the quiz that you should put in this video is what is synecdoche, what is metonymy, and what is lexicalization. Well, basically, lexicalization is the umbrella term on that whole thing.
Exactly. And here's another one from 5th century BC as well. Or maybe this one point's 4th century. They're all like 4th to 5th century in that range. And you can see the background. You can see those very defined ram horns again. Obviously a ram, not a lamb. I love this image, by the way. Beautiful. Here's another one. Oh, that's the same one. This is another one where you can see this one has obviously ram horns again. So I'm just showing you an example. Now this one, I'm honest, right? If I really wanted to, I can collect all the data that supports my position. I found one that didn't have ram's horns. It has some weird little goat ears, though. It looks like a goat more than I don't know what that is. But I'm just trying to show people that I don't just look for things to support my evidence or support my arguments. I want to show people everything. But I looked, and 99% of the time, it's a ram. And not only is it a ram, the story itself says it is a winged ram fleece. It calls it a winged ram fleece. So like you can't call it a lamb. Like and as you pointed out, you already demonstrated. There is that one different. The other myth, it's a lamb, not this one though.
Yeah.
So, and I just want to just show people, like, even like the basic Wikipedia page even like glosses it as it uses the term that I use, crusomelon deras. That's the standard term for golden fleece, and it says right here, winged ram. See, it's not a lamb. So, anyways, that's all. Just wanted to add that little context, but we can continue with what he says next because there's more.
All right.
So if you want to,
I got it.
Okay, cool.
Work up all this way. Look at me. How honest have I been with you? How honest? Are you ready? Show me the song, Ammon. Okay, all you string masters out there, pay attention. People, I'm going to show you something, and then I'm going to flash up something that will blow your brain. Are you ready? Do you see up in the corner it says Christian stuff, Christian fragments? Fragmente Christiana, right? Oh, God. These are magical fragments. We have people coming up throwing away their books, their magic books. Do you want to see original Christianity or don't you? People, I'm showing you things that have never been shown. This is a portal.
That's
Do you
not true
understand?
either. No, no
Let's
one's ever
look
shown
at
the
it. Ah, God.
PGM. Nonsense.
Throw it up there. Chewy, give him the Greek. Ready, people? What does it say on that skin? Holy. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Jesus,
Yeah.
Jesus, Jesus. Alpha and Omega.
Now, pause it
Adonai
real quick.
Elohim.
Do you know which PGM fragment this is? It says 5002. Does anyone know?
I could pull it up, but
Yeah, because I'm if I'm not mistaken, this is like a 3rd to 5th century text AD. This isn't original. He said this is original Christianity. Like it's just like another just like blatant, not even close to being truth lie. And I just want to make sure I'm right about that because I'm guessing a little bit on that because most of the Christian PGM are usually later. There might be some in the 2nd century, but you start really getting them 3rd, 4th, 5th, and beyond. So you can keep playing while you're looking for that.
Hi. Hey, remember I told you about those incantations that Jesus is using on the cross? Right, here they are, you fuckers. Right now, for the musicians, what is all of this? Oh, God. We know that each of the letters are seven notes. Right? Look where we're ending in this little dude's head. With ion. Ion. Right now, who is that Ion? We just saw yesterday that she is Ionia. She is Aphrodite. And you're going to say, there's no way. There is no way the Christians are performing magic that has to do with Aphrodite. Really? There's no way the Christians are doing things with Aphrodite? Oh, really? Magic. Sure. Look, people, it's the Christian fragments of the magic of papyri, and it's all cool up top.
Did you find the date for this yet?
So I don't. I'm trying to. Okay, the breakdown. I'm just gonna give this whole. I haven't found it yet.
There's got to be a date on here somewhere. Here, while you're doing that, let me just show people the actual, and I've done this before, and I'm going to do it again. The actual context for why he's saying that on the cross is from the Psalms. It's not from the PGM. It says, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Right? And let me just switch this over to Greek real quick. Septuagint. And obviously the Greek does not transliterate it. It translates it to where is that? Oh, Theos, mu, my God, my God. Now, what does the Hebrew say? Eli, lama, there it is right there. Lama es sabachthani. So it's not exactly this, because obviously we're not going to get a 1-to-1 perfect transliteration because we're going from Hebrew to Greek, right? And not only that, the author in Matthew, and it's in Mark as well, is actually going through Aramaic. Jesus is supposed to be a Syriac Aramaic speaker, so there's some weird transmission here. But the point is, when you actually read the text, which is from Mark 15, I believe, right? Mark 15. If we pull that up, Greek New Testament, and let me just do that. So I'll just before we switch over, I just wanted to show you guys one more time. This is Alpha, Lamed, Yod, Ali, Ali, Eli, Lama, And then right here you have sa, za, ba, tha, ni. Sabatani, right? Okay. That's where it is. You can't, this is obviously predates the New Testament. I don't care what you want to date Psalms to. We can say it's fucking 100 BC if you want, which is not. But I'm just saying, it doesn't matter. It is obviously before the New Testament. There are no PGM fragments that mention Jesus that are older than the New Testament, period. And full game, full stop. So now what do we do? Well, we look at Mark. What is Mark saying? Mark says, my Eloi, and this is an Aramaic retelling of it's the author is basically saying, oh, Jesus said in Aramaic what the Psalms say. Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. So it gets an extra he in there that's not in the original Hebrew. That's the only difference, other than the possessive for Aramaic, which is Eloi. That's possessive. That means my God, my God. That's how you would phrase it in Aramaic. This is the exact same phrase. And then the lama is exactly the same, by the way. It's literally lama. So what's more likely? The PGM, which is, did you find the date, by the way?
Yeah, you could pull it up.
Okay. What's more likely, guys? The PGM, what does it say?
So I consulted ChatGPT. I gave it the exact manuscript detail. There are multiple manuscripts in that collection on the
that's
PGM.
Another thing. It's hard to date.
So it's combining them all. So
that fragment, though, can we find?
Yeah, so
5th century. See, that's what I'm saying.
It's multiple fragments. So there's one from the 5th and 6th. There's one dated to the 6th, 5th, 6th, 4th, 5th.
They're all
6th.
set. My point is strong all day. These are all quarter millennium, almost half a millennium, 300-400 years later than the Gospels. And obviously, let's use our fucking brains for a second. Obviously, this is drawing from Mark. They made this into a magical incantation, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like that. The PGM does shit. It's always doing shit like that. But the original context of Mark and Matthew are drawing from Psalm 22. Period. And guess what else? In the Gospel of John, when Jesus is on the cross in John, he sings a different psalm, and I think Luke does too. So that's how we know all 4 Gospels. When Jesus is on the cross, he cites a specific psalm, whether it's Matthew and Mark, which is Psalm 22. In John, I forgot exactly what psalm it is, but I can find it. I'll pull that up right now. Go ahead. What are your thoughts on this?
What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, I do think the PGM is a super cool text. So
Oh yeah.
I love that Amin wants to talk about it. But what this has to do with like the actual historical Jesus is like you got to actually make a case for that. Not only that, but also, Amin wants to say, hey, he said this with the Greek scholar, whatever his name was. He's like, oh, I'm not trying to make historical claims. I'm just telling you what the text says. It's like, okay, well, why does it even matter?
Yeah. John 19. So you can see right here, John, and I'll have to switch over to some New Testament Greek.
Now, if you,
John,
you have the Septuagint pulled up.
if you go to John 19 and we go to verse 28, you can see what he says here. Now 19 verse 28, he says, I am thirsty, right? And John, by the way, the dipso, he wants to make this about drugs. This is also from the Psalms. This is from Psalm 22:50, same Psalm, by the way, same Psalm. But so, and then it says they divided his. I think it says they divide his. In this verse, right? They divide his thing up or whatever.
Well,
yeah, they will look on the one who is pierced. All this is from the Psalms, by the way.
And I should also point out that there's not any other way for him to say he's thirsty. So if he were just thirsty, that's what he would say. Dipso means I'm thirsty in Greek.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm not talking about a snake. I'm just saying I'm thirsty.
But if we go back to Psalm 22, real quick, we can see something here that's related to why he's thirsty and why the author wanted to make that. He's fulfilling something here. So 22:15, and it says, "My mouth is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth." What do you think that, like, they're all four gospels are doing this? When Jesus is on the cross, you can check all four. Luke does it, Matthew does it, Mark does it, and John does it here. They're all fulfilling Psalm 22 in their own, and they're all doing it in their own way. John is doing the whole I thirst, and look at the Psalm says, "My mouth is dried up like a potsherd." So obviously that's where he's getting it from. What do you what else do you think is going on here? You know?
Yeah. Well, and you could see that I also got, like, I just asked what the earliest dates are. The earliest surviving PGM type material goes all the way back to the first century BC, first and second century BC. So if you want to say that that's the source, go try to find, what that's what you need to be quoting.
Yeah. One more I want to show. I really want to make it abundantly clear that this is from Psalms and not some secret PGM fragment that existed in the first century magically, and then we just don't know about it till the 5th century for some reason, which is unlikely. Like, I guess that if he was to make it, if I was a Steelman him, he would probably say, "Oh, the PGM is referring to magic that existed in the 1st century, but the texts that we have are all 5th century." That's fine. It's possible. It's not the likelihood. I wouldn't go with that as the likelihood, because that's not, Occam's razor says otherwise. Now, but I just showed you John. I just showed you Matthew. I just showed you Mark. Now, what is Luke doing? Does Luke have its own version of the Psalms too? Well, it does. Luke 23, verse 46. Am I on Luke? Yes, 23, verse 46 says, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." Now, what is that from? Well, let's find out. Psalm, I think it's 31. 31.
Yeah, and just so everybody's aware, with your account, Neil, you could have clicked the cross reference. Because we're reloading the NRSV today, it was not a good day for me to stream it. But you could have clicked once and jumped there.
Sure, you're right. I'll get better at that. Yep. Look what it says. Psalm. We're not in Luke anymore, guys. What does it say? "Into your hands I commit my spirit, my faithful God." It's the same quote, dude. It's the same quote. So what's the? And I just want to make this. I'm going to ask the question again. What's more likely? Is Mark and Matthew doing the same thing that's happening in John and Luke, quoting, rewriting or quoting Psalms? Or is it just some magic PGM text that we lost? Think about that. Just really think about that. Don't even comment. Just think about it to yourself if you're watching this. So.
All right. Well, I think you helped boost me to 2,991. So I got 9 more.
You over?
Well, no, just 9 more.
9 people. You guys.
But
there's hundreds of you. We need 9 of you to jump over there. Let's go. They're probably all watching on their TVs and they just can't. You know what I mean?
Maybe when I wake up in the morning, I'll be over the line and I'll make a community post and thank everyone.
No, actually, I do think there's sometimes delays when people click on that stuff.
Maybe I'm over.
Internet thing going on.
I'll have to check my phone.
Yeah. But whatever.
Everybody create a new account.
How about you, Zach? Did you get any boost at all?
I didn't even check. Let's find out.
Okay.
The dating of the PGM is really interesting.
Let's hear it.
What I just read was that I mean, it's like AI, so I don't know how legit it is, but I mean, like, it's coming from somewhere. So Wikipedia says, and these citing scholar, whatever his name is, Hans Dieter Betz, or however you pronounce it.
Yes, that's the translator. Yeah.
That it's 100 BCE to 400 CE. So that's really interesting.
Yes.
Like, it's a wide range, even before Christianity, before Jesus.
But the Christian stuff is all way later.
Right. That's the thing. So there's like a Hellenistic side of things with Egyptian and Greek magic. Yes. Then there's like an early Roman and a late Roman and early Byzantine. But the Christian side of things would be way late, like 4th to 6th century. So
Yes.
don't that's not like for certain.
Let me explain why though.
Yeah.
These are not texts that were together in antiquity. We put them together in modern times. So these are random magical incantations. Some of them are written on papyri. Some of them, I believe, are written on other things, but I don't know exactly where they all come from. But there was no text in antiquity that says PGM. This is a collection. So the Hellenistic pagan stuff doesn't necessarily mean it's the same text as the later Christian stuff. They get lumped together. They get brought together as a collection. It's a library. It's all it is.
Yeah.
And these are not, by the way, these are not orthodox. These are random people, random plebs that are writing this shit. So
God, the all ruler, the holy one, right? The true one, the one who loves people, the demiurge, the Father of the Lord and Sotero Savior, Hemon, Jesu Christu, of our Jesus Christ. Show us all truth, people. That's what we're looking for.
Just
And
pause it
how
real
do we
quick.
open?
Real quick. I just want to point out. It says the abbreviated PGM, Papyri Graecae Magicae, is entirely a modern scholarly construct, not a single unified text or ancient book that circulated in antiquity. Modern compilation. The label was invented in the 20th century by German scholar Karl Presidentz to group together a massive disparate assortment of ancient papyrus fragments found across Greco-Roman Egypt. So it says right here, dating roughly between 2nd century BC all the way up through the 5th to 6th century CE. They were written on by various hands, practicing magicians, local priests, scribes, working recipes, books, notebooks, random stuff, right? Not a single grimoire. This is not, like, there was nobody in antiquity going, let me consult the PGM and see what it says. That didn't exist. They would have their own little fragment around or something. So, all right, go ahead.
Well, they may not have been fragments. They may have been complete at that time.
Yeah, like the single scrolls. Yeah.
Yeah. They would have one version.
Yeah.
People, look in the blue here. Look in the blue. You see the God in the last blue lines? Yao Sabaoth, Adonai. Do you know who that is? Do you know who that is?
No shit. That's the God of the
Your
Bible.
God, people.
That's the God of the
That's your
Septuagint.
God. That's your God. When you say God, that's who you're referring to. God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And what is he doing
Wait,
here?
hold on,
He's
pause it.
invoked.
What is this point? Why would anyone think otherwise?
I don't know.
Is he like trying to pretend that people think that's someone else? And also, it says Sabaoth, not Sabachthani. And they think, oh, no, seriously, the Ammonites and LH said this too. It's close enough, dude. What do you mean? It's got Saba in it. And it's like, that's all that matters. It's close enough.
But but doesn't he want that to be Dionysus? Doesn't he want it to be Sabazius?
That's what I was wondering. That's why I was so confused about this passage. Because is it not Sabazius, or now it's the actual, because that's exactly how his name is spelled in the Septuagint fragments from the Dead Sea Scrolls and the what's the other place, Oxyrhynchus, Ya'o Sabaoth, instead of it's Kurio Sabaoth in the later church Bibles.
Yeah.
So
Aphrodite. Did you think I was saying bullshit? And by the way, Turan, vagina. Opening the vagina.
what does that actually say there?
This is what you people.
It's the door.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, it's the door.
Where is he getting? So what? Let's go to the. Where is he? Let's do a little. Can we do a little detail on Thuron real quick to show people how he got that?
Yeah. So
Maybe we can do pull up TLG maybe.
No, I have it. Hold on.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
It's the vagina. This is so funny, dude.
Okay, so food on. Here it
That's
is.
that's his fragment. Okay. Oh look, Presidents. That was the guy I was just quoting from. Let's see. Where's the entry for it?
I mean, this is the entry. Window.
Are you on a different page right now? I'm still looking at the text.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. I hate how it does that. I
Just
have
opens
this all the time. I'll be like talking to people, and they're still looking at my original. Okay, cool. So this is it. Thura.
Yeah.
And can it even mean what he's saying at all? He's going at the double entendre. That's a rare double on. It looks like a very rare double entendre, probably. If I'm gonna give him if I'm gonna try to give him the best faith.
Well, like I said, it means door.
It means door. Yeah.
Plural. Folding doors.
But it's her door.
Yeah, I don't.
Is there
especially
anything on
of
there?
Kings.
Glow Santurai.
I just break
Is
the
there
picture.
anything even close to vagina on here? At all?
Metaphorical sense entry into the soul.
Okay. That's still.
Maybe if you found it in the what's that Muse book by Jeff
Immaculate Muse. And I'm
Henderson.
Sure, and I would probably guess that that's what's going on. That there might be some sort of double entendre usage somewhere in antiquity.
Like he walked through my door.
Yeah, and that's fine. And the
Henderson.
context is clear that she's talking about her box, right? And but what we just read, no, it doesn't say that.
So yeah, I think we listened to enough.
That's it. You good?
Well,
what about? Okay, that's it then, right?
We could go to the end if you wanted to.
Yeah, I just want to finish it off. Let's just finish it off.
All right.
The vagina. This is what you people were doing in your cults. This has nothing to do with anything but death and resurrection and oracular vision. People, these are historical texts. These are historical texts that you are looking at. You are looking at the live performances of Christians. And what we have done, Satanic Congregation, with the crusade is we have started the crack. And the Christians are scared shitless because they have no defense.
Yeah.
Christians have no defense against this. Dude, this is a gift. You guys are a gift to Christianity, Bori. Because you're literally playing the role of the evil satanic people that are going to be at the end times, and like you make it better for Christians. Like it's so they have their villain right there, and you're playing it. You're happily jumping in. I'm your villain, and then you're lying about tax.
Yeah, I mean, if you take anything away from this, it's just that like Ammon is insulting the intelligence of everybody who listens to him, and he wants them to be his useful idiots. And you need to not be his useful idiot by reposting his slop and fighting his battles. Like he can come on here and debate us if he wants. Yeah. And we can go through these texts and we can talk about Greek. He won't do that.
And they go, it's your attitude. It's your attitude. Really? We're going to worry about attitude now? The guy who's screaming and whipping the floor, we're worried about attitude now? It's coping. They're just coping. They don't want to talk to any of us. There's nothing they can gain. I was surprised that Maddie even came on here.
And I bet you they're going to continue saying that lamb is fleece long after this video.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So I think that Steve, you did a great job on that.
Thank you.
By the way, I got to say, Zach, you've been killing it on that channel with all the videos you're putting out, left and right, just throwing zingers out there. It's I every time I see you're going live, I'm always queuing it up and watching it. So
you're my biggest fan.
What do you got
biggest
coming
fan,
up?
Oh, what do I got coming up?
Yeah.
Shoot. Oh, shoot. Well, you got a lot of good stuff that we're talking about with Vivian Nutton.
Yes.
So we're gonna do a lot of commentary on that because there's apparently a lot of Ammonites who just completely just right over their heads, thinking that Vivian Nutton agrees with Ammon or something.
They thought he was supporting Ammon for some reason. Does anyone know why they think that?
Very odd.
Can anyone guess? I was trying to think about it. Maybe the one part where he mentioned that there's he says there's sometimes they write about a pure boy or something.
Dioscorides.
Yeah.
He said Dioscorides has a reference, and
that might be one of the thing that they were like, oh my God, he's right. You know.
Yeah, well,
And
Sunday.
That's me trying to show. If there's anything Amon's right about, I will be happily putting it up there, and going, he got this one, pretty interesting. You know, there's just not a lot of times that happens. I wish there was. It doesn't happen very often.
Oh, tomorrow I am interviewing Ryan, your guys' favorite Ryan.
Ryan Sledge.
Yeah, Ryan Sledge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about, because he changed his mind. The first time he came on here, you guys had a conversation, and
Wow.
he
was very
really
cool.
big Amon fan.
Yeah, like I totally misread him when I was talking to him in the comments, because that's how it is. You don't know who these people are. You think the worst when you're talking to people that's all text, and then you actually talk to him face to face. He's like, oh, this guy's pretty cool. He's just chilling, you know. He's just interested in these topics, whatever.
I think Ryan is probably worried about alienating his friends in the community.
Oh yeah, I understand.
That's my instinct. It's just like
That's
don't
hard,
want to.
man.
Yeah.
You make friends and you don't want to lose that. That makes a lot of sense.
But Amon's group, though, you say anything that's even slightly against Amon, you're out.
Yeah. Yep. Or like I've seen screenshots from people showing me like these fights in the Discord. And it'll be someone just doubting that Hebrew is fake, and they're getting dogpiled on by these people. You're an idiot. Oh my God, I can't believe you think Hebrew's real. I've seen that one recently. Someone showed me. Like, you can't even think Hebrew's a real language. That's nuts. Maybe I should send you that screenshot, Zach, if you want to talk about it on your channel.
Oh gosh.
I'll probably briefly touch on it at some point when it's relevant.
You've had Matt Baker on your channel, right?
Me?
Yeah.
I haven't yet. No.
Oh, well, Matt Baker was on Myth Vision.
Yeah.
But Matt Baker has made 2 videos on the Useful Charts channel about the Cross Bible timeline poster. So definitely go check out Useful Charts.
Yeah, that's a great channel. It's a big channel too.
Yeah, Neil, Derek, same people, same person.
Same guy, yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's all I wanted to cover for tonight.
Cool.
So, I mean,
thanks for having me on. It's been fun.
Yeah. If anyone else have anything to say, the floor is open, man. Nope.
Go get some lessons from Steven.
Yes.
Yeah. Reach out. Go to crossbible.com and go to contact, and you can message me freely on the contact form on crossbible.com.
Are we doing Sunday?
Sunday we have the interview with John Wilkins.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to come down with something, and I don't know if my voice will be able. I don't think I can handle the interview and Greek. Maybe next week for sure. Next week we Greek out.
Cool. All right.
I can tutor you. I can tutor you. Neil.
All right. Let's jump into Unit 5. Let's see how you do. Yeah. No. We're coming a long way.
Yeah.
I still have some rusty areas though, but we'll get there. You know.
It's cool. All right.
All right, guys.
All right, guys.
It's fun, guys. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. You retain true gnosis.
You have just attained true gnosis. The demiurge has no power over